Okota chini. Okota chini tukipeleka. I'm going to look for the best dancer. Chukua chini, peleka juu. Aya, kiuno, 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 kiuno. Aha. Tule. Chini. Wow. DJ. That was so nice. Ndo tumeanza, si ndio? Ndo tumeanza. Anyway, DJ, ndio venye wako hivyo, si ndio? Ni kutuchangamsha kwanza. Nataka utupatie ile ya Gen Z. Na kila mtu ataenda ki-Gen Z. Nataka kuona who are the best. Gen Z ama millennial. Na ni nyinyi mtaamua. You're the people who are going to decide who's the best in dancing. It's a challenge. DJ Guzi, Gen Z. And you go with it. Aya. Tupeleke. Tuambie tunaenda aje. Atatuonyesha. Tume. Aya. Anza. Ni yeye. Tume. Aha. Anza aje. Tume. Kuna wapi? Tushamsikia pia ni kiklasa kufunga bado. Ana kusingle sitaja pati. Utanjua. Kesho nipate kwa mimi nachua hizo release ni kushow kwanza form ya tikon nishashika mpoa. Yeah, my Gen Z. That's for the Gen Z, right? And now we're getting to the millennials now. To the millennials and the Gen X. The millennial and Gen X. DJ, guza kitu tuone millennials ama the Gen X wanatupeleka aje. DJ, shikilia kitu. Millennials, umeona Gen Z? So far mtawareta out of 10. Aya. DJ. Nani ako juu? Millennials. Gen Z ndio wako juu, si ndio? By the way, to be honest, Gen Z bado hawajatoa mastyle. Kuna zingine shingo inavunjika bado hajafikia hiyo, si ndio? So far tunasema you've done so good. Thank you so much. You can have your seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We shall have such activities as we continue, si ndio? The icebreaker activities, right? We're now sharing other speakers. Thank you. Wait, Vincent is just left. He just left, right? Yes. Okay. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're just about to begin the next session. Yeah, it's continuing session. And those who are seated behind, I think there's seats in front. You can try and occupy the front seats so that you can listen much better. Yeah. So thank you so much for the icebreaker. Yeah, I enjoyed myself, and I hope everyone did. Yeah. Great. So now it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Tony Devine to continue with the session. Please welcome. Mpige makofi.
Yes, Mike. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed lunch. Did you? So your stomach is happy now? Very happy. Oh, I like to hear that. Very happy. That was actually a nice lunch, huh? Grilled chicken, barbecue, I guess, right? It was really tasty. Yeah, I liked it myself. Yeah. Okay, so we'll continue with a very important section, right? As we wrap up this presentation. So human beings, right? All of us here in this room, we have four core dimensions, right? We call it the four core human dimensions. Now you may not have thought that you have four core dimensions. You mean, what do you mean I have four core dimensions, right? Aren't I just me? So like when you looked at yourself in the mirror this morning, what did you see? You saw yourself? Okay. So what exactly, now you can be specific. What exactly did you see? We need to have one of the ladies up here because the ladies spend a lot of time looking in the mirror in the morning. The guys barely look in the mirror, right? So Jane, what did you see this morning when you looked in the mirror? How many hours did you spend in there in the bathroom? Maybe two, maybe? One? I knew it. I knew it. 1 hour, right? Daniel, how much time did you spend in the bathroom looking at yourself in the mirror this morning? Maybe 1 minute, right? Yeah, one hour versus 1 minute, right? So, Jane, what did you see this morning? Yeah, come up here and yeah, describe in detail what you saw.
Of course, mostly when I stand in the mirror, I start looking at my hair, my face, my body, if my outfit is okay. Yes, I turn, yeah, before I step out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're checking your whole physical, the physical body, right, to make sure it's all intact and it's looking really good. I mean, Jane is looking good, right? Let's give her a big round of applause. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we see our physical body, right? And we try to do something here, put a gel here, put makeup here. How many kinds of makeup do ladies put on in the morning? Like there must be 5 or 15 different compounds you guys put on every morning. Is that right? And then the cream on the hands and my God. So when you look in the mirror, right, you do not see the other dimensions, right? Because human beings have more dimensions than just the physical dimension. We're a lot more than just the physical dimension, right? So we have three other very important dimensions. We have, in addition to a physical dimension, which is the green circle in the bottom, we also have an emotional, relational dimension, right? This is our ability to relate with others. We've been talking about that this morning. We also have a mental cognitive dimension, right? And we also have a dimension that no other species has on planet Earth, or probably in the universe as we know it. And that's a spiritual moral dimension. So we're the only species that has a spiritual moral dimension. The big five, the elephants, the lions, right, the giraffes, they don't have a spiritual moral dimension. If you have a pet dog or a cat, they don't have it either. Only human beings. We're unique in this way, right? And that's what makes us uniquely special in the universe, right? So these four human dimensions are who we are as a whole. right? And each one of these dimensions require continuous growth and development. So you might be wondering, like, why are we talking about this, right? Because this points to answering the question we brought up in the beginning of in the morning. What is the purpose of education, right? So the purpose of education has to develop all 4 human dimensions. So which dimension does the education sector currently focus on of these 4? Primarily focuses on the mental cognitive dimension, and even only partially, but it does nothing with the other 3, almost nothing with the other 3 dimensions, right? So this is an important piece of insight, right, that we should be discussing with our teams, right, with our leaders, when you go back, right, to your educational institutions or wherever you are, that we talk about this, right? So if I had to come up with a framework to transform education, right, this is what it would look like. Do you remember the previous pyramid that we saw earlier, the upside down pyramid, where much of the real estate was focused on just the mental dimension, right, with the acquisition of knowledge? When you have a pyramid that's upside down, it's not that stable. So this is a much more stable pyramid, right? And pyramids and triangles are geometric shapes that are very strong. That's why I'm using this imagery here. So the foundation of this framework is character, right? And character taps into the spiritual moral dimension, the most important dimension. And it takes up most of the real estate in this framework. The next most important one is relationships, because human beings, we are relational beings, right? In other words, if we, probably the worst punishment that a prisoner can be, relegated to is solitary confinement. That is the worst punishment any prisoner can be exposed to, solitary confinement. And prisoners who have been in solitary confinement, if a mouse walks into their room, right, into their cell, they will make a relationship with that mouse. And there's been a movie about this, right, that you can watch, okay, with Tom Hanks in it. Really well worth watching. Because we're relational beings. We're wired to relate with others, and especially with our family. So nurturing relationships is a huge part of our human, uniqueness, right? The next one in importance is energy and vitality. And you might be asking, right, as educators, what do you mean? Isn't it mental cognitive would be the next most important one? No. It's physical vitality, right? Because this has to do with the physical body. The physical body needs energy, it needs nutrition, it needs exercise, right? And this goes all the way back to our ancient ancestors, particularly here in Africa, right? Is that, there was no grocery stores back then. We had to hunt for our food, right? And cook it. And we picked up fruits and vegetables, right? We walked every day. We walked at the speed of a herd, which is 4 miles an hour. So we naturally exercised. We're designed to exercise, right? We're designed to eat nutritious food, right? Then when you exert energy, you gain energy, and we need energy to do this work, right? You need energy to actually lead in your personal world, in your inner world. You need energy to do this. You need energy to lead in your family, right? When you come home at the end of a long day, you're exhausted, you have children, you have a spouse, right? You might have a parent there, and you can't just collapse on the couch, right? Even though your body wants to do that, but we need energy to take care of our family at the end of the day, right? We need energy to transform education, right? And then when you have the energy, then we can actually tap into the next dimension, which is the mental cognitive dimension. And here it's no longer about the acquisition of knowledge, it's about the application of knowledge to solve the problems of our day, right? And tapping into emerging technologies to help us in that process. We've been talking about emerging technological platforms this morning, AI, and so on. So we should be using this stuff, right? So this is the batting order: character first, right? Then relationships. Character guides all of it. Then energy and vitality. Then knowledge and skills. And then then this gets mapped to the transforming education framework. So any good school, right, the culture of that school or university or TVET would look like this. There is a culture of good character, of values, right? There is a culture of amazing caring relationships between teachers and students, between teachers themselves, between the students, between the school and the families, right? The school and the community, and so on. And everyone has energy and vitality. That's prioritized. So school lunches are nutritious, right? There's lots of exercise and physical activity going on, right? We're not just sitting in chairs all day long. Everyone is more active, up and about, right? And then we're going to use creativity. We're going to learn in new ways. We're going to, pursue curiosity, right? Discovery. Do you know what I mean? We're going to learn in a new way than ever before. And then to learn for what purpose? To grow, to develop, to solve all the massive myriad of problems we have in Kenya right now, right? I mean, if you just drive home tonight, you might want to open your notebook. Maybe not when you're driving, but if you're a passenger in the car, right? And make a note, make a list of all the things that could be improved, right? It is unlimited, and these are entrepreneurial opportunities for our students, right? And for ourselves, okay? So what we're doing here is that we're aligning, right, the personal transformational framework. We have to transform ourselves first. Only then, that is the causal factor. We, as educators, as educational leaders, right, as human beings, we have to transform ourselves first. Then we can transform this. The more we transform ourselves in these 4 dimensions, the more we can transform the culture in our schools and educational institutions and make them in a reimagined way, right? So the true purpose of education, to answer the question, right, is mapped to developing all 4 human dimensions, right? And just to reiterate here, right? Character is linked to the spiritual moral dimension, the dimension of universal spiritual principles and values. Relationships is linked to to the emotional relational dimension. Energy and vitality is linked to that human dimension, and the knowledge application and skills, applying knowledge to solve problems, is mapped to the mental cognitive dimension. So the purpose of education is to develop all 4 human dimensions, right? If we're not currently doing that, we need to create a plan to actually do that, okay? So the true purpose of education is very different from the current purpose. This morning, we learned that the current purpose of education is lifelong learning. The true purpose of education is way more than that. It is cultivating lifelong character and holistic growth. Holistic growth means the other 3 dimensions, right? The mental, cognitive, that means the lifelong learning, lifelong relationship enhancement, lifelong developing physical vitality and energy. But I'm actually specifying character here because it is so foundational and so central to all of this. we're talking about transforming education as a pathway to national transformation, right? So every single student coming out of our schools and educational institutions should first and foremost be a good person, a person of character, right? So Lorna, as a technology company, do you want to hire bad people or good people? 100%. Does good people means people of bad character, mediocre character, or good character? You see, you have it from the employer right here, folks, right? Stand up and tell everyone that again, okay? Because you're the employer. They're providing the supply to you. Tell them what you're looking for.
Thank you, Tony. Hi, everybody. So definitely we're looking for good people. Good people with good values. Yes.
What's your message to the educators?
I have a message for them that I'll be sharing later on in this context. Um, yes, definitely. I would encourage all educators to as well focus on the soft skills as well, because this then leads to a wholesome candidate. Yeah, not just focusing on the educational part or the theory part, but looking at graduating wholesome candidates that companies are looking for. Because when you go for an interview, it's not just the certification alone that matters. They're looking at because they even do the background search and all that. So what type of person are we bringing into our organization? Is it somebody who will work well with others, who is a team player, or are we bringing somebody who is going to start thinking about stealing from the company? Yeah. So we want somebody with good values, definitely. Yeah, and good character.
So Lorna is now, we have to give her a new title, right? We'll call her Professor Lorna, right? But she's teaching the educators, and then nobody wrote this down. Write everything she said down right now, this minute, okay? Every single word that she said, you have to write it down. Nobody wrote a single word. Do that this minute, right? And put a big star and circle around it. These are the kind of people that all of us as educators are to produce for the workforce. Do you understand? She did not mention academics or performance in final exams at all here, right? In fact, she said they don't care too much about intellectual capability, right? These other things are more important. But the education sector is not cultivating these other aspects. So we have to resync, to realign how we're doing this, right, to the true purpose of education, cultivating the total person, not just their mind, okay? So the true purpose of education is cultivating lifelong character and holistic growth, right? And this, when you can actually align to this actually ignites unlimited human potential. Human beings are amazing. All of us here in this room, we do not have limited potential, folks. We have unlimited potential. It doesn't matter what age you are, right? If you're 50, you may think, oh, I don't have a whole lot of potential left. Nothing could be further than the truth, right? If you're Martin, how old are you? Your age? Huh? 23. I mean, do you realize the unlimited potential that's locked inside of you right now? You can be anything you want, right? Yeah. And this is what drives meritocracy, right? It drives hard work. It drives making a contribution, which we were talking about. It actually stimulates excellence, right? And innovation, right? So a good person like this that has good character, who's trustworthy, is able to relate well with others, right? Has energy and vitality, is able to solve problems. They're going to be the innovators in this age, right? If you're not developing yourself, you're not going to be employable in the modern world, okay? So take what Lorna said super seriously, and also what these young people were saying. I'm actually learning from them myself, okay? So I really appreciate this input. So what we're doing here, right, is transitioning from the conventional education system to the true purpose of education, right? So we're moving away from this upside down pyramid, which focuses almost exclusively on the acquisition of knowledge, right? Which is not serving us in the modern world. It has never properly served us, actually, to this transformative. When we say transforming education, this is what we mean. It is not better systems, better curriculum, or whatever, right? It is human development, first and foremost, okay? Because that's what drives everything else, okay? And that is a resilient model that inspires growth and relevance, okay? And maybe to put it another way, what we need to do is transition from the current exclusive focus on the mental cognitive dimension to cultivating all four dimensions, right? All four of them, okay? So this brings us to this section here, which is called the theory of education transformation. So we're putting things together now. So I'm going to move a little quicker here, right? So the theory of transforming education starts with the transformation of people, right? Starting with the educators, not with the students, starting with all of us here in this room, right? That we're making a commitment based on what you're learning in this workshop today, that I'm going to start a whole new journey, right? Of lifelong character and holistic growth. I'm going to keep growing, developing, not just in one dimension, but in all four of them, right? Okay. And to create an amazing, through that's how we create amazing transformative cultures in our schools. People like that will create a transformative education, a transformative culture at companies, right? Correct, Lorna? Yeah. Culture is really important, right? And then this stimulates continuous and rapid innovation. It's no longer about innovation now and again, folks. It's about rapid innovation and continuous innovation, right? The big technology companies, especially the pharmaceutical companies, they're running something called the speed of innovation. It's not like I innovate something this month and then something else 2 months later. No, what did you innovate this week? That's the new metric. Is that right or wrong? Lorna, you're from the tech world. Is that the new metric? Tell them. You're the professor now.
Anthony, if you can repeat that.
Yeah.
Repeat the
Oh,
section
yeah.
again. Yeah.
So what I was asking is, in the technology sector, which you're in, right? What is the new metric around innovation, how employees are assessed? Is it how much did you innovate in the past year when you do your annual performance, or how much did you innovate in the past week? What has the metric moved to?
So right now there's a lot of focus, I would say, on innovation and driving new ideas. That's really the focus because, for example, uh, the working environment at Oracle will involve you are given a project or the company shares a vision and you're expected to deliver. All right. So it is about you being innovative in how you can be able to deliver and get results. That is what your KPIs will focus on. Yeah.
It's a KPI for these folks.
The key performance indicators. Yeah.
The tech world is full of jargon, but I think in the education sector, you know what a KPI is, right? So, I can tell you, right, in the big tech companies, right, it's no longer what did you innovate. It's no longer when you do your what you call it, the annual performance review, right? And what did you innovate in the past year? That's gone out the door a long time ago. The new metric is what did you innovate in the past week? What new thing did you do? What new thing did you improve? This is how the world of work is moving, and this is going to go down to even days, right? By the way, with AI and everything. So this is what we want the education sector to align to. All of us here in this room have to have a new metric of our own performance. What did I innovate this week? What did I improve this week, right? And by the way, the fact that you're in this workshop, you can put a great report for this week. I invested into the transforming education workshop. I'm improving myself, right? Next week you have to keep innovating, right? And then the nation can innovate quickly. Do you understand? That's what we want, okay? And then that's adding more value, right? The faster you innovate, the more value you add. We need to always be adding value, right? Then, when the students are seeing their teachers, their school heads, their ministries of education doing this, right? Martin, you're a student, right? That actually inspires the students to want to be like their great teachers, that they want to actually be growing, coming in as the best version of themselves tomorrow than today. That's how it works with the students. They're always looking at us, the adults, right? So that's how it goes. So we can never again remove ourselves from the equation. We are front and center as the adults, then the students will naturally, right, will manifest those same kind of qualities. So transforming educators first and then students ignites unlimited potential, right? Educators of good character create great educational institutions, great schools, great classrooms, great regions, great nations, right? Like that. And then, in this part here, just continuing this idea a little further, as I was mentioning, igniting unlimited human potential. So to change anything around you, if you want to change something in your school or in your job or in your role, right? The key to success is to change something in yourself first, right? The more you change and transform yourself, the more everything else around you transforms. The same goes in our families, by the way. You want to improve your relationship with your spouse, your parents, your children, your siblings, rather than telling them what they should do, right? Transform and change yourself first. Then it becomes natural, right? Okay. I learned that the hard way in my relationship with my wife. I was always asking her to change this, change that, and she was always asking me to change 12 different things at once, right? And after 10 years of this, we had an epiphany. We went to a smart marriages conference, and we learned some stuff, and we realized, oh my God, we have to stop doing this. This is like stupid. Nothing happens. So instead, let's focus on transforming and changing ourselves. We both are doing that ever since then, right? I only wish we'd learned it the day after we got married, right? We would have saved 10 years of struggle, And then the second one is each person has infinite value. This is what makes us different from other species, right? We have unlimited value because we have that spiritual moral dimension, right? And really the potential, right? It's not a given to create an extraordinary life, an amazing life, and to make an amazing contribution to humanity, to do useful things, right? So it starts by knowing yourself, learning about growing, right? And developing all these four human dimensions. So Warren Buffett, you know who he is, right? He is the founder of Berkshire Hathaway, probably the most successful value investor in history, right? He just recently retired, right, in his 90s. And, he was at every year, he comes from Omaha in the United States. And, every year they have the annual stockholders meeting, right? And people would give an arm and a leg to be in that room every year. It is very hard to get into that room, right? And then he gives an opening address, kind of the State of the Union of Berkshire Hathaway, and then he opens it up to Q&A, right? So in one fairly recent, gathering like this, it was actually around the COVID time. Someone asked him, what is the best investment you can be making right now? So the intent of that question was, what's the best stock to invest in, right? And he gave a very unusual, unexpected answer, right? What he said is that the best thing you can invest in right now is yourself. Invest in yourself, because if you invest in a stock, right, you have no guarantee that this is going to mature into a huge retirement account, right? People, back about 25, 30 years ago, people poured into a stock called Enron, right? And it went belly up. There was a whole scheme. It was very, very corrupt, right? So you have no guarantees with investing in stocks, right? It is advisable, however, since we're on the topic, right? However, when you invest in yourself, there is no downside. There is pure upside. This is the beauty of this, right? Because now you can actually you're unlocking more of your potential, your effectiveness, your productivity, right? Your usefulness, the value add you can make. It's got pure upside, right? Did you guys write all that down? Because you should be writing this down, right? Because I'm giving you the secret sauce of how to transform education, okay? So this is really about igniting unlimited human potential, all 4 dimensions firing at the same time, right? So what we need to be doing here, right, is bringing the spiritual moral dimension to the forefront of our mind. Currently, in the education sector, the mental cognitive dimension is dominantly in the front, right? The other 3 dimensions are way, way in the background. We need to change the formula here, right? The formula going forward to realize the true purpose of education is that the spiritual moral dimension, where it's the realm of values, principles, right? Morality, character, has to be in the forefront, folks, because we have that unique dimension, right? And, to grow in all of these, I don't want to belabor this, right? But basically, we want to have fitness in all 4 dimensions, not just physical fitness, which we do need, by the way, but relational fitness, mental cognitive fitness. It all requires energy, right? And spiritual moral fitness. And this requires responsibility and so on and so forth, right? Now, we're using the word transformation very, very strategically in this work that we're doing, not change. So when you change something, it's very easy for it to change back again, right? So how many of you, about 8 months ago, on January 1st of 2025, made New Year's resolutions? That you're going to do some big change, right, in yourself once and for all. You're going to lose those few pounds. You're going to get more healthy. You're going to have a better relationship with your spouse. You're going to walk more. Lorna now walks every day, right? And she was telling me the other day, right? So do I. Whatever it may be. How many people made New Year's resolutions this year on January 1st? Some of you, how many people did not make New Year's resolutions? Okay, a few people didn't. We've got 3 honest people in the room, right? So most of you did, right? So how many of you are still on track with those New Year's resolutions? Raise your hands. You're on track. Okay. Very few, right? In fact, what is it? There's an amazing statistic on this, right? It's unbelievable. By by the end of January, early February, 88% of everyone who made New Year's resolutions have already given up on them, right? Can you believe this? This has been going on for decades, for centuries, right? Okay? Because, you have to not change you have to transform you. You have to change you, right? At the end of the day, okay? Literally transform you, okay? So we're talking about transforming education in the global south, right? So why is this important, right? It's very logical, folks. It's not complicated, right? Today we are home to the world's largest youth population ever in human history, 1.2 billion students, right? And the vast majority of them, close to 90% of them, actually reside in the global south. And especially Africa, right? This is a huge chunk of the global south. In fact, by 2050, 1 in 4 human beings on planet Earth are going to be African. You're going to be more than what you are right now, right? Yeah, that's really cool, right? 1 in 4. So these young people, right, in global south, they constitute the vast majority of the human population. Now, think about this for a second, right? Because this statistic has huge implications for these young people and for us, right? So I want to ask you a question here. Where do young people between the ages of 1 and 27 spend the vast majority of their time? In 2 places. Where are the 2 places? Schools and homes. The other 10% is basically in the community, transitioning from school to home, basically, right? That's all that's going on. So with that acknowledged, right, that young people spend 90%, up to 90% of their time up to age 27 in homes with their families or in their schools, right? So let's continue this logically, right? What does this mean for all of us here in the room? It means that as parents, as teachers, the impact that we can have on the life trajectory of these special students is unbelievable. If we invest in nurturing all 4 dimensions, not just the mental dimension, okay? And to invest into them beyond what they're going to perform in next year's final exams. Currently, that is the investment that's being made, if we honestly speak about it, right? But we need to shift the game here, right? And start actualizing to the true purpose of education, which is cultivating the total person, right? For their actual entire life arc. So the impact that all of us here can have on a student like Martin here is unbelievable. And the impact that his mother and father can have is unbelievable. So parents need to also be very engaged with their children lifelong. We're going to be going into this more in depth on Saturday, right? And I'm really delighted that George is here, right, from the National Parents Association, since we're talking about this point here. And now, George, I want you to now give a message to all the educators here about how important parents are, right?
Very good. One of the things that I've discovered is that our minds choose whom to hear what from, isn't it? So there's a story of a mad person near Madare Hospital that was standing on the fence because he were basking in the sun. He's a sick person, and so there was a vehicle that came there and got up. I mean, the tire came off, and so the owner of the vehicle was looking at, what do I do? And the mad person told him, but it's really simple. Just get one nut per tire and fix your tire. Then you can buy another nut when you go. That's scientific, That's true, and that's the only option. But the owner of the vehicle has a problem receiving that information from the mad person. So the the issue, the information is okay, but who are you? Who are you to speak? So a lot of us, there are things you can only hear from your parent. If your parent tells you, greet someone like this, it makes sense. If someone else tells you, it doesn't make sense. So that's the power that a parent has over you. In Greek, we call it an oikos relationship. In other words, consciously or unconsciously, before you make any decision, you are always thinking about will they approve or will they not approve. Whether negatively or positively, they decide how you behave. Some of you even behave that way hatefully. Oh, my dad doesn't like short skirts. I hate him, so I can't put on a short skirt. So still you're obeying. But you really hate him for ringing in your head and making you feel guilty and so on. So that's how powerful the position of parent is. And so, as educators, in conclusion, we are saying if we could, within the education system, have more of collaboration with the parents in the process of educating the children, then you get both advantages. You get the child listening to formal information and getting confirmation from their trusted sources. So we in National Parents Association at the moment are, of course, you know that CBC, we have a new curriculum, isn't it? A curriculum reform. And we are now in our first graduation class for primary, which is a celebration. But we've been refining this over time. And many things have been going okay, as you know. But there is one more thing that we really need to strengthen now, and it's called the value-based education pillar of that CBC. And that value-based education, the way it is designed in the curriculum, it is designed, now all of you are educators, so you know that you've been expected here and there to make sure your children are learning patriotism, and that's why you're forcing them on us to sing with them patriotic songs. We are suffering from what you are doing in school because you tell them, go home over the weekend, sing with your parents a patriotic song. And maybe your parent himself is rebellious, so it becomes a problem. But we have to fit it. But so we have patriotism, we have unity, we have peace, all those nice things that you're teaching in school and asking them to come and do with us. And so we are now at that stage where we want to amplify that nationally so that parents see that as part and parcel of the education system. It is not just an extended assignment. So we have developed some new materials for how parents can inculcate that at home to complement what you have done in school. And so we are going to pilot in the next between now and December, we're going to pilot like in 8 schools to see and get feedback and see how it works. Then hopefully then next year, we are able to share the model with nationally, maybe through a parents conference, and then everyone can try that. But the goal is to get more and more parents involved in inculcation of values together with the teachers, because the teachers are the authoritative source, while the parents are the trusted source. So teacher, love parent. Learner, be happy. Amen.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you. So I think, George, you have a new career in front of you as a stand-up comedian, right? Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, just on a more serious note, though, I really applaud David and George. David stand up was with the also National Parents Association. Just greet everybody, wave their hand. Yeah. Okay. David, yeah. So we're on the topic, right, that young people spend the vast majority of their time in home and in school, right? So we want both the parents and the grandparents and the uncles and aunts very involved here. And schools should be rolling out the red carpet to families, right? Not just the students, okay? So the profile of a school going forward, there should be lots of parents there every single day, right, supporting the teachers, right, George? Yeah, 100%, right? It should not be a barrier. It should be a welcoming thing. It should be totally normal. Currently, that's not the case, right? So we want to figure out how to make that the new reality, okay? Then when we can do that, the impact is unbelievable, right? So to find out a little bit more, right, about all of this, please take this website down, globalpeace.org/TE. TE means Transforming Education 2030, right? So globalpeace, one word, .org/T for Transforming, E for Education 2050. So once you go there, right, you can find the Transforming Education concept paper. You can also learn more about the blueprint for transforming education. The position paper is there. There's a flyer. There's interviews. There's lots of good resources that you can download and have conversations and have workshops in your schools, right? With your faculty, with your colleagues at the university or whatever it may be, okay? So when do we get started, folks? Now, right? We need to get started now. Why do we need to get started now? We do not have the luxury of time, right? Because all this cohort, Generation Alpha and the tail end of Generation Z are live in our classrooms right now. We can't wait, right? So we need to take immediate action, and we really must work together, everyone in this room, right? So that we can have collective impact towards national transformation, okay? So with that, we're going to have a quick energizer. Vince, are you here? Vince? So can someone find Vince while we do the energizer? So Martin, are you going to do the energizer? Yeah, come on up then.
The energizer, can I have a question?
No, the energizer first. And
That's
bring the
good.
students up.
Okay. Thank you so much. Want to do some nice break activity. Now, DJ, are you ready with the activity? Are you ready? Are you ready? DJ, I want to jump a little bit. Now, let's get up. Let's get up a little bit. Let's get up. Tusimame. Tusimame kidogo. Thank you. Let's get up. We're having just a cool music. As you do that, you're gonna put your hands on your head, put your hands on the head. Then your head, you give them numbers. Your head is number one, right? Your head is number one. Then we have number two is your shoulder. And number three is your waist. And number four is your knee, okay? So it's number 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3. I see somebody's lost already. Just a cool music as we do that. Just a lower tone. So we do it 1, 2, 3, 4. Say 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Somebody looking at me. You are copying me, right? You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 4. Somebody. I got somebody. So number 4 is your knee. Now somebody. Okay. Thank you. We're going to do it for the last time. Okay. Now let's for us to stretch a little bit. Let's add number 5. That is you try to stretch a little bit, pointing at your toes, right? That's for us to stretch a little bit. Now we're starting. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4. Somebody is 4. 4 is your knee. 4 is your knee. 4 is your knee. Somebody copying me. Let's go. The last time now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Somebody typed it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is Vince here? Okay, there was we have two people we'd like to bring up to share, but there was a few questions that some of you have. So Martin, you had a question, right? So what is it? And then someone else had a question over there as well.
Okay. My name is Masten Ogueno, and I'm a student. I'm a teacher of French and history and government. In this case, I'm a student teacher at Kenyatta University, School of Education and Lifelong Learning. So my question is, as a teacher of French, now how can education and the current purpose of education uh, in local identity, languages, and local culture. How can I help? How can the languages help us grow skills and a continuous innovation and in the tech-driven world? Because honestly, as a teacher, I don't want to teach French for the kids to pass exams. I want to get something that through this French, they're going to be innovative. They're going to be people who can grow skills from the language that I teach. Same to Mandarin, same to German, all the languages that we teach. And the cultures, how can it help us grow innovation and skills globally? Then for the interest of students, I'm a student, I'm yet to graduate. And in Kenyatta University, I'm privileged to be a student leader there. So one question is, as young people are preparing and thinking about the future, that is maybe in this case 2050, how can students in the global south be empowered to shape education that reflect realities and our future aspirations? That's a question for everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, these are great questions, right? Um, so it doesn't matter like what culture you're from or what language you speak, right? What we're talking about here is so fundamental to all of that, right? You know, language is just a way of communication, right? But language is not the only way we communicate, right? There's something called body language. It's your motivation, your heart, how you're orientated, what drives you is actually more fundamental, right? And more important. Language can be used for a good or bad purpose, actually, right? There's something called bad language, right? So we don't want to be using too much of that. So, you know, language is just a tool, right? So what we're saying here is we need to go deeper into the essence of who we are. And then, you know, talking about languages and cultures, like I have traveled to over 80 countries in the world, right? And been in countries where I don't speak the local language, but still I'm able to communicate. I think many of you who traveled are able to do that too, because humanity has something in common called families, right? And the first thing we talk about is how's your family and how many kids do you have and what do you eat for dinner, right? That's the conversation starter, and that's relationship building, right? So it's really amazing how people connect on such basic things, right? And then your second question, right, was related to um, yeah, yeah, empowering the young generation, yeah. So I'm going to give you a challenging answer to this one, right? Empower yourselves. Don't wait for anybody else to empower you. Be self empowered, right? Don't be waiting around for anybody else. Be a self driven engine, you know, highly motivated nuclear reactor, right? You don't have to wait for anybody. You can do amazing things, right? So be self-empowered. So the things you're learning here in the workshop, that gives you the raw ingredients to get going. Do you know what I mean? And share this good news with your friends, right? Then you can do amazing things, right? Does that sound good? Okay. Someone else had a question. Yeah, over here.
Thank you. Nganga Charles. I was requesting maybe more emphasis and maybe explanation on the change versus transformation and possibly reforms too.
So yeah, change versus transformation. So normally, when we talk about series, right, what we're more used to is the theory of change, right? Oftentimes when you're making proposals for grants and something like that, as educators, they ask you, what is your theory of change, right? And that's the way it has been. The problem with change is that it's so easy to change back, right? But transformation is it's kind of like a metamorphosis. It is more fundamental, and it's something that's going to last, that's going to endure. So we're not kind of like changing back and forth, right? But transforming something more essential in ourselves. And that actually has a fighting chance to endure, right? And last for a very, very long time. So a transformed person will keep their New Year's resolutions. A person who changes will change them 3 weeks later, right? That's the difference, right? Fundamentally. We'll take one more question, and then we have some people we want to come up and say a few words to you. Anyone else have a? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, this will be our last question. Yeah.
So thank you very much. So my question actually, and I think this most of us educators will really resonate with this. And sorry. So you've really explained to us very well on the core human dimensions, which is actually a very good thing. However, as educators, yeah, here and teachers, we have different stakeholders in the education, yeah. So how do you handle this? Like we have parents and probably leaders who really want more of academics, yeah. They really value academics more than all these others, yeah, in such a way that if you are not producing learners who are getting A's, you're actually not doing anything. Yeah, and I'm sure that is one of the things that we as educators really battle with, either silently or, yeah.
Okay, so this is an important question, right? Because I'm hearing from several of you this morning, right, and this afternoon, that parents just want you to focus on pure academics, get those A's no matter what, right? But here's the thing, right? Parents are human beings who work in the modern workforce. And that workforce has completely changed, right? It's no longer about what you know, but your ability to solve problems, to be a good person, how those things that Lorna was talking about, right? Teamwork, right? So what we have to do is we've got to actually expose the parents to what we're talking about here, right? So this is where schools can play a very, very important role here, right? Because you have something called facilities, like this room, right? It's not used on the weekends. It's free. There's nobody in this room on a Saturday, right? So I want to highly recommend, right, that schools start organizing parent transformation workshops on the weekends, right? And I want to give that charge to you. So fill up your. Is this like the convening room or your workshop room or whatever it is, right? So organize a parents workshop, focus on transforming education for the future, and share with them this content. So this content is not just for you. It is for you to cascade this down to your teams and to the parents of the kids in the school, the students, right? And I'm telling you, I'll guarantee it, right? Okay, I'll tell you what. If you fill up this room next Saturday, right, and I cancel my flight back to the United States and you fill it up with parents, I'll have them all transformed by the end of the day. And they will no longer be telling you just focus on the A's. They'll be telling you focus on character, focus on the relationships, the physical vitality, and so on. They will lick this up like you can't believe. we've got to make the first move and start educating the parents in a new way. You'll be surprised that they'll be your number one allies. I've actually experienced this in many other countries, by the way. Okay. Do you think that's possible? How many people think that's possible? Do you think this is mission impossible or mission possible? Yes, to write that down, right? Okay. Vince, you want to introduce the next folks? Turning parents into your closest friends.
Yes, yes. Let's appreciate Tony. Let's appreciate Tony. So the next speaker, we would like to invite one of our very good partners, Global Peace Foundation Kenya, in the space of transforming education. And she was there with us from the beginning. The other sessions, the second one when we were doing at the Daystar University, she was also there and very, very passionate. So allow me to invite Madam Beatrice, Mrs. Oyo, the Deputy Principal, Makini Schools, Runda. Tumpigie makofi moja. Very good. Uko na mbogi, eh? Tumpigie makofi moja. Mbili. Tatu. Actually, the reason why we are here, allow me to just mention this, Mrs. Oyo. When we were at Daystar University, and normally what we do, when we do this particular session, we normally ask the audience who would like to host the second one. And there were a number of partners who are interested. We have the Waldorf, Nairobi Waldorf School. We had Crawford International School. And then we had McKinney Schools now, which was previously known as Regis. So she's really waited to host this. So we are here courtesy of the principal, Mr. Clifford Olwoch, and also Mrs. Oyo. Tumpigeni makofi. And I know she's been able to travel to get new ways of doing things, especially the aspect of transformative education. And she requested, since the school invested in me to acquire this and it's in line with transforming education, I would love to share this. So we'd love to hear this new content. Thank you so much. Karibu.
Asante. Thank you so much, Vincent. All protocol observed. I'm Beatrice Oyo, the Vice Principal, Regis Ronda Academy, now known as McKinney Schools, Ronda. So I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic, discipline management in schools. I had an opportunity to get a scholarship to travel to Canada to do a research for 6 months. That was sponsored by Global Affairs Canada. And the reason why I was given that scholarship is because of transforming education. Agenda number 4, that is Sustainable Development Goals. Number 4, which is on quality education. So we applied for the scholarship and I was admitted to study for 6 months at the University of Saskatchewan. So after getting the scholarship, we applied again for a further grant. So I was given a further grant by the King of UK to go for the global the study tour in Ottawa, just to see how education can be used to transform the society. But I was given the scholarship on condition that I have to come back to my country and share the knowledge. That is why I came back. So many people are telling me, don't come back to Kenya. Please don't come back to Kenya. So I used to get messages every day. Please do not come back to Kenya. You know, Canada is one of the best countries in the world. And I was at one point tempted to stay there. Because the people there are very kind, very, very kind, very cultured. And I said, this is the place to be. If you are found making unnecessary noise, you are arrested. So you're not supposed to make noise to disturb other people. But one thing came to my mind. that Dr. Tony Devine always travels from Seattle in the United States to come and transform education in Kenya, in Africa, in the global south. And yet, I was given a chance to go there for 6 months and be taught new ways of doing things, and then I remained there. So I said, I'm going to come back to Kenya and get a platform where I'll share what I learned in Canada. And that is why I requested Dr. Tony Devine to give me just 20 minutes to talk to educators. So I'm a candidate, I'm a PhD student at Kenyatta University, School of College of Education, specializing in education administration. And my research topic is on discipline management in schools. So every year, every now and then, on social media, on print media, and everywhere, we see about schools going up in flames. A week hardly passes in Kenya before we see a case of breaking news, yes? A particular school somewhere is up in flames. And there are many cases where lives have been lost. So many lives have been lost. Millions of shillings have been wasted because of student strikes. And because of this reason, I've been wondering what can be done differently to bring all this to an end. So I did a lot of research by looking at research papers in Kenya on discipline management in schools. So I was looking at how head teachers can be upskilled so that they can manage discipline properly in schools. So when I was given this opportunity to go to Canada, I arrived in Canada on 15th of January this year. And the next day I was at the University of Saskatchewan getting my ID. My professor was there waiting for me to start the journey. So when I went to the College of Education and shared my research topic, everybody was looking at me in an awkward way. I told them I'm here to study about discipline management. So my supervisor threw me into the deep end and told me, look for studies, find out what happens at Saskatchewan province. In Canada, they talk about provinces. So Saskatchewan is bigger than Kenya in landmass, and the population is way smaller than what we have here. So the population is 1.5 million people on a landmass bigger than Kenya, but Kenya, we are 50 million, yes? So these days when I walk around, I just see a lot of people everywhere. Yes, so I was told, find out how they manage discipline in schools in Saskatchewan province. So I went to the library and set the ball running, looking for discipline management in schools in Saskatchewan province. I searched for discipline management in Saskatchewan. I could not get anything. So I went back and told my supervisor that I can't get any documents or any publications on discipline management. She told me, maybe you are not using the right search words or search terms. Find out which terms are used in Saskatchewan province. So I tried again, and I was not getting anything. So she organized for a meeting for me with the chairman of the department and the office in charge of training of school leaders. So we had that meeting and I asked them, how do we manage discipline in schools in Saskatchewan province? So they told me, here we don't use the word discipline. Hello? How many are managing discipline in schools here? So they told me, here we don't use the word discipline. Okay. So I got interested which words are used. So they told me, look for terms like behavior management, restitution, restorative justice, and so on. Wow. So I started looking for literature around behavior management. Now it started making a lot of sense. Are we together, everyone? I'm a teacher of mathematics and physics, yes? At Regis School, Runda, Makini Schools, Runda. Okay, so I realized that for them, they don't have the word discipline management. When you talk of discipline management, hey, think about that word. What comes to your mind when you talk about discipline management? I can see all of us have gone through schools. So as a good teacher, I want to discipline management. How do we manage discipline, educators? Hello? As the deputy principal, I'm expected to manage discipline. Hello? So what am I supposed to do? Managing with the very good. So, Kenya banned use of corporal punishment in the year 2001. 2001 through Gazette notice. But are we still caning? This is 2024, yes? How many used the cane last week? At home, in school? How many used the cane at home yesterday? By show of hands? They said they used the cane and now they don't want to raise their hands. Okay, so in 2001, the government of Kenya banned the use of corporal punishment in schools. But parents were allowed to administer reasonable punishment to contain the learners. So the parents continue beating at home while the teachers were told not to cane. So the educators started complaining. Hawa watoto wamezoea kiboko. They are beaten at home, but in school we are told not to beat them. So what are the alternative approaches that you are using currently? Now that you are told thou shalt not cane, so what are you doing currently? Detention. Which approaches are we using now that, yes? Use of guidance and counseling, very good. Any other, what are we using now that corporal punishment was banned in school in 2001? Yes? Kindergarten, naughty corner, very good. So people are not caning. Yes. Punishment. Oh, spiritual and moral. Wow, we are doing very well, yes? What about those at the back? Are we also using guidance? I know there are those who are still caning, eh? See, I'm a vice principal here na nikitembea around nasikia kuna watu wako wanasikia tu kuchapa watoto, yes? They really feel like beating the kids. So unaambia thou shall not beat. Thou shall not make them kneel, yes? And then ukipita around unapata watoto nyuma ya mlango. Hello? Hello? Yes. So in the year 2022, the Children's Act was revised, where even parents are now not allowed to beat their own children. Are we aware? So when the government banned corporal punishment in the year 2001, alternative approaches to discipline management were introduced. One of the approaches was guidance and counseling, suspension and expulsion. Hello? But there is a catch. Okay? Suspension can only be done by after approval by the sub-county. The sub-county. But do we suspend? Let us be honest. You want to transform education in the global south towards what? 2050. What about expulsion? You do expel. How? You are only supposed to expel after approval by the cabinet secretary. Wow. You people, you should know the legal framework around education. So you are not supposed to expel. So somehow the educators have found their hands tied. Yet, in discipline cases, continue to skyrocket. So we don't know what to do. We are found somewhere, even at home, we don't know, the parents don't know what to do because they're not supposed to beat. If I hear you beating your child, as your neighbor, I'm supposed to call the police to come and arrest you. That is called the law of torts. Small offenses, yes? If you are beating your child, that is not allowed because right now, The Education Act 2020, the Children's Act doesn't allow you to administer punishment. Okay, so what are the best practices? So suspension is a good strategy. It has served us very well up to now. But when you suspend a child for 2 weeks, what do you think they are doing while back at home? That is what we use here as well, yes? Those who are difficult, we just send them for 2 weeks and then they come back with their parents, yes? But when you send a child to go home for 2 weeks, are you worried about what this child might be doing back at home? Or they are with their parents now, it is none of your business. Wow. And when they come back, do you repeat the content they lost within the 2 weeks? So that will still give birth to other issues. Why? This child will come back home to school, find that they are lagging behind. They will start bothering other students. They will sink deeper into the indiscipline issues. And then you will say, this child, we can no longer contain him or her in our school. So what do? We give them indefinite suspension. Indefinite suspension is the equivalence of expulsion. So if your parents want, let them stay with you at home for three months. Yes? But parents will not stay at home with the kids for 3 months. So they will bring them to Regis School. Here, Regis will just admit any kid. Yes? So we'll admit them. Yes? Hello? So, when I was there now talking about discipline management, and I'm told we don't use that word here. So Canada had been in the same space where we are 30 years ago. So corporal punishment was banned in schools, but people continued to use corporal punishment until in the year 2004, when a decision was made that no use of corporal punishment will be allowed in any school. So all the stakeholders were brought together. The parents, all the educators were brought together, and they were told that if you are found administering corporal punishment, you will be arrested. And in Canada, they really know how to enforce laws. So from that time, no use of corporal punishment, any form of punishment. So instead, they introduced what we refer to as school-wide positive behavior intervention and support. School-wide positive behavior interventions and support. So they moved away from the use of the term discipline management to behavior management. Managing behavior is a tedious process. Very tedious, because we are supposed to ensure that we manage this behavior such that it doesn't get to indiscipline. And in that case, discipline management is seen on a continuum. It is not one thing, because like now in our case, the moment you are admitted to a school, the first thing is a list of rules and regulations. How many schools have rules and regulations? The parents and the children are supposed to sign before they get into your schools, yes? That if you are found stealing, what will happen? If you are found stealing? Yes. And if you have sneaked out of school? You bring barbed wires, yes? Hello? Yeah, so the first thing we give when we are admitting learners, apart from the admission letter, we have a long list of rules and regulations saying thou shalt not, and if you steal, you will go home. Okay? Yes. So do they still steal after signing the rules? Do they still sneak out of the school? Why are they sneaking, and yet we have rules and regulations? Has it ever bothered you why these people still sneak out of school, and yet we have given them a long list of rules and regulations? So they will steal, and very quickly we look at what is the consequence. This child was found cheating in exams. What should we do? Yes? They have to redo the exams. Yes? That is what the school rule says. Quick fix. You find a child, your child has stolen some money you left on the table. You come and ask, who took that money? Then you are told, I think it's so and so. The first thing you do, you beat that child until they admit. Is that what we do as parents? You beat the child, yes, thoroughly, until they admit to the offense. Quick fix. Discipline management. We are managing discipline. Coming at the tail end, when the offense has already occurred and we are there to fix by administering 3 strokes of the cane, by chasing that child out of your house. Can you leave my compound? We can't be 2 men in the same house. Fathers, are you in the house? Hello, fathers, are you there? Yes, the mothers will say, we can't be 2 women in this house, yes? So if you cannot obey, out. We want to transform education. We want to transform education by transforming the educators, the parents who are in the house, because this is not only for school leaders, this is also for us as parents. Behind every case of indiscipline, there is a need, an unmet need. Behind every issue that appears like indiscipline, there is an unmet need. So before you come with your rules and regulations, what need is this child exhibiting? So the first step is to identify the need. Hello? So a child who has not eaten for 2 days, if they come here and they find your phone is left hanging somewhere there, what do you think they will do? If a child has not eaten for like a week and there is a phone somewhere there, what do you think this child will do? Will steal the phone. Why will they steal the phone? To sell. Why do they want to sell the phone? To get money to buy food. So before you administer your 6 strokes of the cane, ask yourself, has this child eaten? Are the basic needs met? Are we together there? So a child has not eaten for 6 days. This child has come to class and stolen something. The first thing is go to the office of the deputy principal. The child is beaten to death, yeah? And then now you bring in your guidance and counseling. The guidance and counseling master, now this child has come back from suspension, go with him. That is where the guidance and counseling comes in. But have we established why this child stole this phone? So there are children who will commit a crime because of unmet basic needs. Basic needs. No food, shelter, clothing. And these days at the lower part of the pyramid is the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi has become a basic need, yes? Yeah, so ask yourself, have we met the basic needs of this child? There are children who will display some unwanted behaviors because they feel they are not loved. Hello? At home, mama ni mka. The mother is a terror at home. In school, the class teacher is also a terror. And this child, the other children say, no, don't come to our group. We don't want you in our group. So this child is just looking for a sense of where to belong, yes? And no one is offering that warmth, that affection, yes? So they will start doing things to draw your attention to them. They'll not do homework, so the next day, homework not done, his name is always on the list. You do the same mode of punishment, 3 strokes of cane, yes? So you cane this child until now they are used to being caned or beaten, so they just come and stand like this. Yes? You continue beating and you are not solving any problem. Because this child, the problem is what? They are missing someone to just appreciate them and tell them that you have great potential in you. We are just there to quickly fix the problem. Another child just needs freedom. As parents, sometimes we are so much onto these kids that they don't have even space to breathe. Mothers, we are guilty as charged. Mothers in the house, are you there? Yeah, we want to arrange the lives of everyone in the family. Even as you live now, you tell them 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of what? Yes? Everything must be arranged very early in the morning. So you don't give them room to think. But these people are supposed to be innovators. They just want space to think on their own. Just buy food and leave it there and allow them to think of what they want to eat. So there are those children who are just looking for some small window to just breathe. And because you are not giving them that window, they will sneak. You have put CCTV, you have put electric fence, they will still come with something and jump out of the fence to the other side. And you wonder, what are you missing at home? I've given you everything. Yes? What are you missing? See, I've paid your school fee. Yes. I've given you food. Yes. You are in a very good school. Yes. But why are you still sneaking out of the compound? So before you think of punishment, identify the need. What is it that is lacking in this child? What is this child missing? Yes? There are children who have grown up, they have never even had a chance to sit with their dads at a close range. When they see their dads arrive from work, they dash into the bedroom. So they are just missing the company of a father figure. Yes? The father is there, but he's just there. I've spoken volumes. He's there, but yeah, when we talk to these kids, they say a lot. Another one was saying, okay, I only see my dad twice. Once, I don't see him, and then the day he's here, he's drunk. So this child is just longing to hear from the dad, but the dad is there, but not there. This child is just looking forward to being told that you are the best, you can be the best, you can become the Obama of tomorrow. But you are always, oh, so you have just gotten 20 marks as usual. Yeah? They have improved by 2 marks and you're waiting for them at the door just to tell them that, oh, you have gotten 2 marks, just 20 marks as usual, lie down, or you have already slapped the child. So how are we going to transform education if we don't want to get tired by getting into the root causes of indiscipline? So this is not only for you as a teacher, this is for you as a parent. I know as a parent I've made mistakes because of the education we went through and the nature of discipline. It was quick fix, yes? And that is what we are trained to do. But what kind of people have we, what are our products? You know, after when I was in Canada and I could see the Gen Zs demonstrating, and these Gen Zs, they are not just teenagers. They are even people who are working, yes? When there are demonstrations, they are there. And we have never been told how to regulate our behaviors. Hello? Another way of now behavior management is self-regulation. You feel very agitated, you feel like killing someone. Are you able to breathe in and out and regulate your behavior? Are you willing to go outside there and pick a ball and just start playing football? Will you look for a gym somewhere and just do some workouts to bring the energy levels down? But what do we do if I'm a policeman? I take the gun, shoot all the family members and shoot myself. Quick fix. So we have a society that is trained to just look at consequences, rules and regulations everywhere at the place of work. I meet a lot of parents who come very early in the morning to just say, you know, I'm a HR of a place and we hire and fire these Gen Zs. Yes? Because they have never known any other way of doing things. And our work is just, these are the rules as HR. Which one did you break? These are the consequences. And maybe this person had a terminally ill parent. That is why they didn't come to work. Are you willing to listen to them? Am I speaking to someone? Am I speaking to someone? So before I joined Regis, I was like that. Deadlines had to be met through thick and thin, yes? Yeah, deadlines had to be met because I was told as long as you do your work well, we'll not have any issues with you. And deadlines had to be met. So someone will tell me, oh, you see, I'm not able to meet the deadlines. I just tell them, okay, it's okay. If you're not able to meet or you don't want to work over the weekend, there is no problem. What I know is tomorrow by 10, the report forms are supposed to be sent to parents. So how you are going to work around it, I have no idea. Because deadlines are to be key performance indicators, KPIs, yes? So they are there, written down, rules and regulations. These are the things that are supposed to be done. But are we willing to listen to people, to hear their side of the story? So one of the ways of managing behavior is by identifying the need. Behind every behavior, misbehavior that you will see, there is a need that is being communicated, that is unmet. Are we together there? So there is this school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports that is used currently in about 4 countries. Finland is one of them. Canada is one of them. We have the US is also applied, and UK. So they have adopted this model of school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports, where the management of behavior is looked at as a continuum, not a continuum, but in a pyramid form. At the lower part of the pyramid, that is where we have the bulk of the people. So the intervention, which is supposed to address up to 80% of the problems, should be targeted to the whole school. The whole school. And is supposed to be data-driven. Data-driven. Identify what are the challenges in our school. Like now, last term, what were the most reported cases of indiscipline? Bullying, yes? Bullying was the main issue. Stealing or whatever, yeah, those cases of indiscipline. Okay? So you come up with interventions for the whole school. School-wide positive behavior interventions and supports. So if bullying is the problem, do not come up with posters of anti-bullying. Hello? Don't write everywhere, no bullying in this school, yes? No bullying. I did that when we came here, we printed so many posters. No cyberbullying, they are all over. We put them all over with my club members. I was in charge of a club called SCAD, Students Campaign Against Drugs. So we printed and we posted them all over, but I realized now that that was not the right way of doing things. Instead of telling them what not to do, tell them the expected behavior. Hello? What behavior would you want to see exhibited? If you have told me not to steal, not to bully, what am I supposed to do? Expectations. Tell these students what they are expected to do when they are in the field. This is the kind of behavior you want to see in the field. But don't tell them, I don't want to see you beating other kids, bullying other kids. What do you want to see? Yes, so let us change the rules and regulations into expected behaviors. What behaviors will prevent bullying from taking place? When you are kind to another person, will you bully? Hello? When you are kind, when you love your neighbors, you love yourself, will you bully this person? So come up with a list of expected behaviors in every space. When they are in a class, how are they expected to behave? When they are walking along the corridors, how are they expected to behave? Do not tell them, don't run along the corridors. They will run. The moment you are telling them, do not run along the corridors, you will find them running. We struggle with the children here along the corridors. Hello? Because we tell them, thou shalt not run along, and they will definitely run. What kind of behavior do you want to see? Tell them, I want to see you walking along a straight line on the left side of the hallways. Yes, without making noise. Okay, quietly. Okay, the expected behavior. so that they start looking at things from the positive side. We have drilled a lot of negative things. Thou shalt not, do not do this. Why don't we change the language from discipline management to behavior management? Is it making sense? And it is in line with transforming education. We are talking about values. So as a school, every term, you can come up with 3 values that you want to see, that you want to inculcate in the learners. Already, the CBE curriculum has outlined some of those values. So our work is to take just 3 per term, sensitize everybody in the school, including non-teaching staff, that this term will be working on these 3 values. And these are the expected behaviors. So when I was in Saskatchewan, I was walking everywhere and all the Canadians were looking kind. Then I wondered, how did these people manage to produce all kind people? I realized they have been transformed through education. In schools, that is where they do the donkey work of transforming the behavior. What do we want to see? How do you want to see the Canadians? How do you want to see Kenyans? Are they people who can just turn someone's vehicle upside down and put it up in flames? When I was a student at KU, there's a particular year where when they burned 7 vehicles, and we stayed at home for 6 months because of people who are not able to regulate their behaviors. Even people who have ascended to positions of leadership, they are not able to regulate their behaviors. Hello? The Gen Zs are demonstrating what we say, kill them. So that we do away with that problem. Why should we bother with that problem? Let us. But are we solving anything? Next time you ask people to go for demonstrations, will they come? Will people come? If you killed 2 yesterday, see, people will come. 10 will be killed today. Another group will. But when people know how to regulate their behaviors, they will do what is expected. I'm preaching. I'm preaching, yes? Yes, so come up with 3 virtues, 3 values that you want to emphasize across the school, school-wide, positive intervention, school-wide. What are the expected behaviors? So the children are given the expectations. At the end of every month, the team in charge of school-wide positive behavior and interventions, they meet to see the level of attainment of the expectations. If we said they should be walking on the left side of the hallway, are they actually working towards that? By end of the term, assess and see whether you are achieving school-wide positive behavior interventions and support. When we talk of support now, that is where the school owners come in. That is where the administrators come in. Are we willing to support them with whatever resources they require for these interventions? So if we do this, 80% of the issues that we talk about in our schools will be sorted out. Hallelujah. So we'll not have a long list of noisemakers because they know when they are in class, they are supposed to use the voice for the what? Yes. When they are outside, they can shout as much as they want. But if we don't do this, then we'll always have a very long list of noisemakers. And some of the most brilliant minds, they are always very loud, very jumpy. And what do? We beat them. We send them home to bring their parents. Yet we can change that narrative. Allow them to make noise as much as they can outside. But when they come to class, tell them what voice level they are supposed to use. So when we use this one, 80% of cases will be sorted out. Then there are those who will not be able to, who will be left behind. Yeah? When we are doing our monitoring, we'll realize there's a group that is still making noise despite the expectations that we have put. There are people who are still bullying despite the expectations. So we now move them into groups. Okay? So school-wide can be done at assemblies, can be done during staff meetings, everywhere. But now when you realize there are those who are not getting help, yes, with the school-wide intervention, now single them out, put them in groups, and tell them to come up with solutions for their issues. If they are bullying, tell them, please, can you come up with a way of solving this issue? Because it is their issue. Is it their issue? Yeah, put them in groups to discuss and give suggestions and action plan. How are we going to keep our hands away from others to ourselves? Yes, so that we don't just go hitting children along the corridors. So we move to another level. So this will help sort out 15% of the cases. Allow them to brainstorm and come up with solutions. So this will leave us with 5% up there. 80 plus 15 is 80 plus 15. So we are left with the 5% up there. This 5%, they are not able to regulate their behaviors because they are on they have specific needs. Have you met learners who have ADHD, who are autistic? Yes? So these ones may not be able to regulate their behaviors because they have a condition. Most schools don't have them because we have cut-off marks, so they are chased away before they are admitted. So the 5%, they will require specialized intervention. You have to bring someone on board to test and identify what kind of issue they have. They have to work closely with the counselors. You have to bring in someone with who is specialized in mental health issues because maybe they are suffering from a mental health issue. So those are the 5% at the top there. When you do this, the academic performance will start going up. The energy you will be using to beat the kids will be converted into preparing for your curriculum implementation. You will be going home a happier person, and your family will also be excited to see you back from work. Because most of the times you spend a lot of time quarreling in school. As deputies, you quarrel with teachers, you quarrel with students, you go home so tired, your children run towards you, you chase them away, you tell them, I'm so tired, and you people, you don't understand. So even the problem is transferred from school to, if you are a man, you start beating your wife over non-issues. Yes? Why is this food cold? So we want to transform education. I visited 3 schools. I visited 3 schools in Canada, in the Saskatchewan province, rural context, urban context, and one with the First Nations, that is the indigenous communities. And I saw, other than positive interventions and supports, okay, they also use facilities like the gym. You find most of the schools that normally go up in flames are boarding schools. Have you ever wondered why most of those schools are boarding schools? Because the parents have brought their children to school and the administrator or the owner of the school wants A's. Yes? So what do? You want to teach them as many hours as possible. So these children go to class at 3 a.m. Yes? They are woken up at what time? And then they are not allowed to go and play. And they are fed and quarantined. So they have so much energy within them. So much energy that has built up within them. And they don't have an outlet. So what do you expect? What do you expect them to do? And then now you bring a small trigger like mock exams in term 2. A small trigger. Stress, and they already have a lot of energy within them and they don't know how to let out this energy. So they will destroy a whole building, a whole dormitory in a twinkle of an eye. Allow them to engage in as many activities as possible. Because after all, we have been told it is not just about academics, yes? Eh? Hello? Yeah, so it is not just about academics. Academics, if you sort out all these other things, happiness index, here we talk about happiness index, then academics will sort out themselves or itself. Mwalimu wa physics, eh? Yeah, so we can transform education by changing the way we look at discipline. So by the time I was leaving Canada, I realized the word discipline is stale. Stale, eh? Yeah. I even feared after I was told the difference between discipline management and behavior management. Now I even feared presenting my topic, yes? Nambiwa, just present it the way it is, yeah? Because there's a lecturer who asked me, who allowed this research, this kind of research to take place here? And someone paid money when I talked of discipline. Because in Canada, even the use of that word discipline, it is behavior management. Help people to self-regulate behavior, identify the needs, support them, emphasize on expectations, the virtues that you want to see in your home. If you want children who are kind, are you showing them kindness? If you want children who are responsible, are you teaching them to be responsible? So I can talk the whole day, and I know people are tired. So I was just giving you a tip of iceberg, yeah, of the iceberg. That when we live here, let us go and transform education, yes, in the global south, so that by the year 2050, we'll have kind people, people who know how to respect other people who are responsible. And Dr. Tony Divine, his work will be over. Hi, Dr. Tony. Because he would have achieved his mission by 2030, even not 2050, 2030. So he'll not be traveling every day from Seattle to Kenya to come and transform education for us, to produce kind people. He will do a conference here for 2 days. Then you go back to your schools, you start beating the children. You go back to your house, and the first child you meet, you have already slapped. Because you have found the utensils were not washed, yeah? I told you to wash these plates and they are still here. And yet this child was just playing. Play is important, but they will still do the what? The washing. So Dr. Tony Divine, these people have said they are going to transform education. Thank you so much.
Beatrice, thank you very much for this message and for hosting us, actually. And, I think this whole issue of discipline really needs to go to cultivating self-management and self-control. I think that's what you're talking about here, right? And I couldn't agree with you more, right? There's a kind of a situation in schools that whenever there's a problem, we have to come up with a special intervention. But if we really transform people, right, our educators and leaders, we actually solve all these problems automatically, right? I think that's what you're indicating. Yeah. But hey, do you know what? You look exactly the image of a famous actress. You must get this a lot, right? Octavia Spencer. Did anyone tell you that before? You should pick it up. You should look up Octavia Spencer on your phone, and this is her sister right here, her twin sister, right? She was a well-known actress in America. She was a lead actress in this great movie called Hidden Figures about the NASA program in the 60s, right? Where she came in just like you, solving big problems, right? So you should look it up and you'll see your image, right? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. So I'd like to, I'll invite up Lorna, yeah. So it's my great pleasure to invite up our next person, special friend of mine and great friend of Global Peace Foundation, a wonderful company, technology company based in Texas. They're doing amazing work here in Africa. This is Oracle. And I would like to invite up Lorna Juma. She is the program manager for Oracle Academy here in Africa. And Oracle Academy does a great service to the education sector, right? That's what it's all about. It has lots of amazing software programs for you, right? So Lorna, it's all yours. Thank you for being here. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I promise I won't take up so much of your time. You've had a lot of great speakers. And just being in this room, honestly, I felt like a student again. McKinney is my alma mater, so I'm a product of McKinney. Very proud. Yeah. And I would say the first introduction that I had to computers was in McKinney. All right. So we used to have the computer classes and I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed them to the extent that, I would go home and talk to my father about it. So he got me a computer, and he got me a computer studies teacher, and he would come, in the evening, sometimes over the weekend, and we would practice on that. So I got really good at it, up to the point where I went to high school, and a lot of students, of course, chose CRE. So you choose CRE or computer studies. So I did computer studies, all right? And that decision alone led me to my first job after completing high school. So being in McKinney and having the parents that I had, I grew up in an environment where if you had an issue, my parents expected you not to go to them with the problem, but at least you're going to present it and what solution you have come up with, And if you thought about it and you still can't find a solution, then you would tell them the solutions you have come up with, you don't think you can go that way so that you can solve it together, right? So I grew up in that environment, sort of created an entrepreneurial mindset. So after finishing high school, and that period where you're waiting to go to campus, my dad had preached to me my whole life that I'm going to be a doctor. But you go to hospital and I don't like blood, So I lived with this fear, like, how am I going to tell this man that I don't want to be a doctor? And he's told everybody I'm the firstborn girl. Even he used to call me Dr. Lona. So, that's how serious he was. My dad is a typical low man, Tony, I don't know if you've met a typical low man. The type who said that there's no speaking Swahili or any other language, You speak English in this house. So I did no. First, let me go back to my story. So I finished high school, and there's a friend of mine who was making liquid soap. The liquid soap. So I told him, let me be your marketing manager. Let me market this soap for you. So I did it. I took a sample, and of course, having done computers, I could come up with a nice graphic design, put it on the bottle, and there was a hotel opening up where we lived. So I went to that hotel, and I asked for a meeting with the manager. So I got the meeting, and I went to market this soap. And when I was done, he asked me how old are you? So I just told him, and he said, I like your confidence. I like how you have spoken. As much as I can't buy this soap because we make our own soap, but I have an open position in administration. It involves talking to clients and also some clerical work. But are you good with computers? There was that confidence, yes. And he was like, if I give you a task right now, can you be able to do it? I told him anything, Word, Excel, So he gave me a task on Excel, involved, formulas and all that. And I did it very quickly. And I got my first job then. Right? So I went back home and told my mom, yeah, I went to sell soap, but I've gotten a job. And of course, my mom is like, typical African mother. My parents are typical African parents. Where is this job? Who has hired you? You've not even gone to university, So she had to go there and confirm, what is your intention, But she saw it's all good, right? So I started the next week. I was not being paid a lot, actually. I was being paid 12,000 to start. But it was a lot to me. It was a lot to me, all right? And so I did that for a while. Then I resigned and I went to campus. But of course, that occurrence gave me confidence to go and speak to my dad. And I did a whole presentation on why I want to do information technology, all right? And he was a business, and he passed on sadly. I added business. So I went and talked about BBIT. you know, and I managed to convince him. I had a whole presentation, a PowerPoint, and he bought into it. He gave me an opportunity, and I went there, and he told me two things: you come back with a first class, and you don't come back here with a Kikuyu boyfriend. I'm sorry. That's just on a light joke, because I was going to Thika. All right. So those were the two conditions. And I can say I met them, because I came back with the first class. Right. Thank you. The point of that story was to try and communicate, or to demonstrate the importance of digital skills, even at a young age. All right. And more so for girls as well, because sometimes girls can feel like this is something for the boys. All right. And I know you're all educators. You may not all be computer studies teachers, but if you have computer studies in your school, right, I urge you to encourage your students to take it up, all right, because of the world that we live in currently. Even the entry-level jobs require digital skills knowledge, all right? And if you have an organization like Oracle, and you guys have heard that Tony has spoken about Oracle, there's an event that I went to, and I was seated next to some people, and I had them asking, one was asking, na hii Oracle inafanya nini? What is it? And the other gentleman answered that, hiyo ni kanisa. And, because of the academy, hiyo ni shule ya kanisa, So Tony, I'll translate the joke. So because Oracle, what does it mean? The mouthpiece of God, right? So for some people who are not familiar with it, they may immediately think Oracle is a church. Yeah. So I came to realize that just because we're a global technology company doesn't mean that everybody knows who you are, right? Like when the Queen passed on, and everybody was sad that the Queen has passed on, it's global news. And I'm telling my house girl that the Queen has passed on, and she's like, "Huyo ni nani sasa?" Because people just assume that everybody knows who this person is, So we're a global technology company in simple terms, and we help individuals, businesses, governments store, manage, and use their data. We're mainly known for our database services, cloud services, business applications. What else? A lot of people don't know this, but we also sell service, right? And you may be in this room and you're like, if I ask if you've used Oracle solutions, a number of you, I'm sure, will tell me no. Is that right? Yes, but I'm sure all of you have used an application powered by Oracle at some point, all right? So if you've used M-Pesa, or you guys are using Airtel, both, yeah, but you've used M-Pesa. If you've used Zoom, all right, so that is running on Oracle Cloud. If you have booked a room, or you've gone for vacation and you're using Airbnb, all right, so that is powered by Oracle solutions as well, okay? If you have used your ATM card, okay, and withdrawn money, a lot of insurance companies, top tier banks, government, so they use Oracle solutions. And I try to describe it to our students as we are like a behind the scenes superhero, the invincible one that you cannot see, but the one that you need, that powers a lot of these applications and solutions, all right? So that is how I will describe it in brief. And so most companies, organizations have their own CSR initiatives. Oracle has invested heavily in its education program, and so that's Oracle Academy. So we partner with educational institutions to provide free teaching and learning resources, all right, to schools. So the educators are our partners, all right? And these free teaching and learning resources, what are they? So we provide full curriculum in database, data science, Java, cloud computing, project management. And our courses, they're very practical, very hands-on, all right? So if I'm talking to you about, you want to introduce cloud computing, to your students, all right? And we have it at all levels. So you might think it's very advanced, okay? But we have content for the K-12 schools, so like primary, high school, all the way to higher education, all right? And so we provide these resources to the teachers. And even the first time that I heard about cloud computing, and I'm a person who, my mind wanders, so you start picturing those clouds and what, how is that data stored up there? But now with your students, all right, they get to actually practice this on an industry tool. Okay, so we don't give you the student version. The students don't interact with the student version. It's the version that the industry is using. Okay, so can you imagine the confidence of this child if they start this, even at K-12 level, right? Even by the time they're going to university, how confident and conversant they'll be with this technology. Okay, and so we're providing this for free. There is no charge, all right, to the schools. What you need to do is just join. So you can write this down, academy.oracle.com. academy.oracle.com. You'll see a join now button. So you click on that and then just follow the steps to register, all right? Yeah. So that is how you create your account as an educator, but you have to create it through your school, all right? So if your school is not a member, you can speak to your administration about it, all right? And Global Peace Foundation and Oracle Academy we have been partners for a number of years. We're renewing our MOU. In the previous collaboration that we had, over 50 educators from K-12 schools in Kenya benefited from the program. Okay, and so we are looking to do an additional. All right, and this time we're focusing on at institution level instead of different educators. So we have over 60 institutions that are going to benefit from this program. So if you're interested, you can speak to any member of the Global Peace Foundation so that they see how they can add you to that program. Okay. We're also looking to host a workshop that is going to be focused on AI for the teachers. All right. So I know you guys are all part of the Global Peace family, and they're going to communicate when and where this workshop will take place. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't have much to say really. I'm just very honored to be here. I wanted to share a little bit about the program and just talk about how acquiring computing skills from a very young age is important, all right, and could go a long way to setting your students apart. Yeah, and I think I really like the collaboration and what Global Peace is doing, because even as Oracle, we cannot do everything. Global Peace cannot do what Oracle is doing, and Oracle to some levels cannot do what Global Peace is doing. All right, so that focus on good values, on human development, character development, is very important. I know people who were performing fantastically at work, hitting their targets, but simply because they don't have good values, you know, um, they lose their jobs in that way. It is very important, even when you're, as you're all aware, even in your own workspace, how important it is to interact with people, especially if you're working for an organization that does not micromanage, all right? But just because you're not being micromanaged doesn't mean you can do whatever you want, right? So having those values instilled in you from a very young age goes a long way in helping you even in your adult life, right? So just to applaud what Global Peace is doing here today, Global Peace and partners, and Regis, Runda, and the rest of the schools. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and also helping organizations like ours in terms of helping build future talent for our organizations, all right? And a recommendation that we have been getting from, the educators who are part of our program was on AI courses, So how do I, like, educators were interested in introducing AI to their students? Where do they start from? Where can they find this curriculum? And so Oracle Academy has introduced that. Okay, so when you sign up and you access the member hub, you can be able to access these resources. So we're looking at empowering the educators. So we empower you first, right? And then with that, you can enhance your classroom. All right, because then you can be able to pass on this knowledge to your students confidently, and even say you have a globally recognized certification in this field. Okay, yeah. Um, um, I'm just thinking of if there's anything else that I have forgotten. Oh, greetings from my manager, Danny Guris. He's a very good friend of Global Peace Foundation, and Tony. Tony, in fact, I think this whole collaboration started because of you and Danny. Right, right. So greetings from Belgium. I hope you received them. And the next time he's here, maybe Tony or Global Peace team, maybe we can organize such a forum for you guys to interact with him. But asanteni sana, I've enjoyed my presence here. If you want to look for me, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just my name's Lorna Juma, Lorna Juma. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, hang for a second.
Okay.
Hang for a second. So I really admire Lorna. We've been good friends for many, many years, and with Danny and the whole team there, it's kind of special to have this kind of relationship, right? And to as a company, as a corporation, to come in to the education sector and help, right? I mean, that's all we can do. But they're always there to help. They're always there to support. So really, really admire that. And when I look at companies to partner with, I focus very much on the founders, right? So I want to actually make a commentary here on the founder of Oracle, not just Oracle Academy, but Oracle, the company, right? So the founder's name is Larry Ellison. And a group of business analysts got together and they made some commentary on his characteristics, right? And I'd like just to read a few things here. And, and you should be able to catch how Larry Ellison, as a human being, aligns with what we're talking about in this workshop. So I'm going to go ahead here. So according to analysts, right, Larry Ellison was a self-motivated, determined leader who transformed a startup. Oracle just started in a garage, right, as a small startup into a multi-billion-dollar company in a fiercely competitive industry. They felt that Larry Ellison possessed many of the attributes of a true leader, not a leader, but a true leader, right? Leadership, drive, imagination, and an attribute to win. That's what we're talking about here. We've got to win in transforming education, not just talk about it, right? Describing Ellison, Business Week said he has spent years transforming himself. What are we talking about here all day today, right? He spent years transforming himself. And that's how Oracle, that is the origin story of Oracle. It's the founder transforming himself and resulted in a multi-billion-dollar company, right? From a causeless rebel to a driven, disciplined warrior, a self-styled new age samurai, right? So, the latest iteration on the Oracle story is that they are partnering. Oracle is partnering with OpenAI, right? Who created ChatGPT, and SoftBank, right, in Japan, they're going to invest $500 billion. That's $500 billion to create this massive AI cluster data center in Texas, right? Can you imagine that? $500 billion. So this is a man who started in a small garage, and now this is where we're at. So we're very proud to be partnering with Oracle. You got a great founder. Danny is great. Lorna, you're special. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So just to finish up to here today, we've been talking about the importance of parents and families and how they connect, how they're so important as part of this model, right? That the primary partnership should be between families and schools. So I'd like to invite up Scylla David, who is the national chairperson of the National Parents Association, to close us out here today. So, David, thank you very much indeed for the good work you're doing and for your friendship.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Tony.
Thank you very much. Okay, you too. You too. Yeah,
Yes.
here you go. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Maybe you can stand for a minute. You've been sitting again. Just stand for a minute and then you sit again. You just stand, stretch a bit, and then we sit because of time. You can ask your friend whether he or she's following. Ask your friend, are you following? How is it? Technology, discipline management, transformation. Okay, we can now sit. I'll be very brief. So, ladies and gentlemen, starting with Brother Tony from the States and the school management, Madam Oyo, Luna, who has just spoken before me, and all the rest. Good evening. The word we are looking at is transformation. And then we are looking at 2050. Then we have heard about the teachers, about the students. So now I want to hear about parents. Where are parents coming in? Do they understand what's transformation? Do they understand the pathways to transformation and how good that can be done? So the word transformation from the Oxford Dictionary, if you check, speaks about change in form, form F-O-R-M, or in nature, or in appearance. And they are saying that change is marked. It's like a tick. Because transformation that brings change is marked. Why? Because it's a long lasting. It's a long-term kind of aspect. When Madam was talking about discipline, I was asking myself, what's the difference between discipline and punishment? Those two words which are speaking about this. I introduce myself, Silas David, National Chairman Parents Association, under the Ministry of Education, and under the 2013 Education Act, Section 55(2), which gives us authority to do what we call parental empowerment and engagement for all parents with the students in basic learning institutions in Kenya. We are a national kind of an organization. We run from national, count, sub-count, and the school level. We call the school level the villages. So we are a wide kind of an organization, allowed by the Ministry of Education and the government to reach each and every parent who has a child in the basic learning institutions. I'll start by giving a small example here. One day, my son went to school, and on a weekend as he was playing, I called him and asked him to go and buy a packet of milk from the shop. He was with his friends. And then he asked me, why can't you go yourself? Yes, he asked me that question. That, Dad, so you think I am the best to go to the shop and you sit and read the newspaper? Those were his words. But he felt embarrassed that he had left his friends to go to the shop. You know, when you have got friends and you are very busy playing and then you are just picked and told, go and look after gods by your father or your mother, you know, it's very disappointing because they look upon you and down upon you and say, oh, so he can just be told, go and do this and that, and then he goes like that. So my son didn't speak much. He's a soft-spoken person like Lorna and Tony. They speak softly. So he just left quietly. He took the money, went to the shop, bought the milk, but he passed through a police station and reported me to the police. That my father is a criminal. Oh yeah. So we are at the house, very busy discussing how to prepare that tea of 10 o'clock. And then I see my son walks back at the house with the two people. Yeah, and then he gives the milk to the mother, and he says, here the man is. So I asked him, you are saying I'm the man? And whom is he telling that here is the man, Tony? It was these two guys, but I saw the appearance was different. Marked transformation, marked. You know, you can tell who are police officers when you look at them. I knew that these are security officers, but now, why have they come to my house with my son? And then one of them said, like, okay, you are the father? Yes. This your son? Yes. This the mother? Yes. I'm so and so. And then he took out the card and he told me, I'm a police officer and we have come to arrest you. You are under arrest. You go and record a statement that you have messed up your son this morning while he was playing. While he was doing what? Playing. And just as simple as that, I was picked. And my son was very happy. Hey, he was. Then he told the mother, today my father will understand that although I'm young, but I have my own rights. My own what? Rights. So in brief, we went to the police station. I humbled myself, did the statement, actually, that I asked him to go and buy the milk from the shop. And there was nothing beyond that. So the question was that, do you think you offended him? I said yes. Can you apologize? I apologized. And he was standing there. That, son, next time, I would like to send you to the shop. I will first of all request your permission for me to send you to the shop. So teachers, if you are here from the discipline and doctor or the doctor here, when you are punishing children in school, remember that they have their own rights. Their own what? Rights. Education in Kenya, to my point, is driven under several instruments, including both local and international, if you don't know that. And these instruments, they each give, if you go through them, there's a section where they always stress that children must be respected. Must be what? Respected, and their rights must be observed. We have the Children's Convention, document on Convention of the Children. We have the African Charter that speaks about children. We have the 2010 Constitution that speaks about the children. We have the Teachers Service Commission Code of Conduct that speaks about children. We have the Sexual Offensive Act that speaks about children. We have the Basic Education Act speaking about the children. But we don't have the Parents Act. Do you know that? I've told about how many acts? About 6 acts. No. But we don't have the Parents Act. So you as a parent, when handling children, remember, the Constitution may speak about you briefly, but you're not protected in the way you may think you are protected. Teachers, the same way. That's why you're talking about what? Transformation, looking at Vision 2050. When I come back to transformation, our purpose of being here, because I'll share my time with my CEO, we'll speak a few things when I sit down. Quickly, one, who should be involved in the education transformation in Kenya and the whole world? Education is holistic, is all round, is a means to the end. And everybody, I was telling people at the National Education Conference this morning, that's why I was late to come here, I was telling the person that even ECD children, the nursery school children, when planning for education, they should be involved. They should be what? Involved. Who say that ECD children cannot speak in a conference like this one? They can speak. Have you seen during drama, very tiny children, even amusing the president, and he gives them money because they can speak and express themselves. So if I come with my child here, she will speak in this conference. She's very courageous. Next time I'll bring her Tony. You'll see. She's very courageous. So children must be involved. Parents must be involved. Teachers must be involved in the education transformation. Grandparents, the ones we call in our language kukas and nyanyas, must be involved. Why? Because of history. There are things that my grandfather would know about education in the past that I may not know as the father to my children. So if I involve in the education transformation, he may share something that I never knew about as much as I'm the father of my children. But I always look at my grandfather and say, you are old, you have expired, you have no business in the education of my children. We talk about public participation. Gen Zs, they want that. That's what they want to hear. Are they here? Public what? Participation. It's holistic. Why do you deny my brother a chance and only give my sister here? Why do you give my brother a chance, deny my sister? Why do you give me a chance as an old man, deny a Gen Z space to speak? We're all there. So all must be involved. Who should be involved? Two, how do we involve these people? Parents are very good people. And we can involve them in transforming education. For example, just through school meetings. Just a school meeting, principal. When you call for a school meeting, open that communication and hear what the parents want. But some principals will call for a school meeting and they take a constitution of 2036, which is not even there. And they begin telling parents, I'm saying this, if you don't do this, your son will see the road. See the what? The road. You see, parents are not children. They are old people. Sorry. They have come to listen to you as the head of an institution. So allow them to listen to you and then allow them to have that good communication, feedback, to tell you what is right and what's wrong. We can involve parents in school issues other than school events, events like meetings. Parents can be involved through feedback communication, teacher, parent, exchange programs. Parents will be very happy. In fact, as a parent, if a teacher called me and told me, can I please meet you somewhere? We discuss on how I can teach you to teach your child at home. At where? At home. I'll be very happy. I'll even buy tea. Buy what? Tea and listen. But many teachers will call you and tell you, your son is so stubborn. He's very stubborn. But parents are expected to hear very good news. Very good what? News. That how can you come to school? How can we meet? Are you able to come? We discuss the performance of your child. How does she behave at home? Do you like her or him? should do that. Be involved with the parents. Communication is very important. Communication is very important. Even what you see happening with the Gen Zs is because of lack of what? Communication. Just one word, communication, which is very important. So parents will love communication. Why are they being involved? First of all, parents own schools, whether private or public. Schools belong to parents. They own the schools. Is that true, principal? Why? They are the customers. They are the ones who bring children. If they come here tomorrow and say, McKinney's school, today, we have decided that we are moving out as a mass, this school will become a church. Will become a what? A church. And only those that can be willing to be converted to be in this church will come here. But the rest, like us, who don't want now to come, we shall stay away and say, no. So, they should be involved to feel that they are appreciated, they are loved, and they are also expect to contribute to the development of their children. When should they be involved? And the answer was here. When should they be involved? When should they be involved? The answer was there. Who remembers the answer? Anybody? Always. You know, I can give 10,000. Just here, you, 10,000. When should they be involved? Bas. Now, class discipline. Teachers know very well that we don't shout answers. Shout what? Answer. Actually, if I just put up your hand like this, I will give you 10,000. Actually, you knew the answer, but now it was just here. We should involve them right now when they still have the interest. They still have the what? The interest. Because as days keep going, other things keep on coming, changing. I'm sorry to say this. We have the CBE curriculum now going on. But you go to a meeting somewhere, you hear parents asking, when shall we be involved? When shall we be what? When shall we be involved? Others will say we have been involved, but not in the right way. So when there's, we normally say you do what? You strike the iron while it's still what? Hot, isn't it? Yeah. So involve them right now when they still have the interest, they still have the strength, and they are able to participate. Okay? My last word. We must learn to listen to children. If anyone, any school, any teacher wants to succeed, any parent, please listen to your child. Listen to your what? Child. I didn't know how to swim. No one else growing up used to swim in rivers. In what? Rivers. Imagine the water was just as shallow as 2 centimeters deep. So you sleep on the sand, you move there like, and you say you are swimming. You are doing what? Swimming. But now with the CBE, swimming has come in. So, my girl came at home and asked me, you are always staying in the house over the weekends. Don't you have anything good to do outside there? I said, what is it? She told me, I have an idea. I said, yes, tell me this. This coming weekend, you'll take me for swimming because we are learning about swimming. So the weekend came, put her in the vehicle, drove her out, went to the restaurant at the swimming pool, brought myself coffee. But I didn't know that in her bag, she had carried for me shorts, towel, and a t-shirt. So she came and I put, Dad, how are you? Fine. Are you through with your coffee? I said, yes. Today, you'll try swimming. Try what? Swimming. And I said, what do you mean? So I told her, first you get in the water, and then I follow. And she went and dived in from the deep end. So mine was now to collapse that my child is what? Finished. She went in the water and came out like a fish from the other side and told me, I'm here. Now, go and change. You also come and try. You know, I went and changed. I had to take instructions because I'm listening. I didn't know how to, but I was panicking because I didn't know how to swim. So I went somewhere like here, Brother Tony and the rest. I changed it. Came out in my shorts, went to her and asked her now. So what do we do? Then she told me the first thing you do before you swim, you have to go back to the bathroom that side, pour open water. It runs over you fast. So you get what? You get now used to the water because water is very cold. Then come back here, then walk in from the shallow end on the steps going in. The swimming pool has steps. I walked in. And she just told me one thing. And this one I will tell you. She told me what you do, put your hands together like this. If you don't know how to swim, please let me teach you how to swim just in 1 second today. Go and try, but don't die. Be very careful. I will not be there. So she told me, you put your hands like this. Have you seen? So you put your hands like this. And she told me that put your hands as if you are being baptized here. Then make a step behind. Set yourself and then dive in the water straight. And when you go in, open your hands and go like this. And that is how to swim. So I got in, and from the deep end, I dived in, and I just found myself going, now, just better than herself. Then I went, came back, dived the second, the third time. The fourth time, I was teaching people how to swim. Can you clap for me, please? Just thank you. So we can do well as parents. Tony, if you allow me 5 minutes, George would summarize this. Now, let George tell you how we can involve parents in transforming education. You want us to come back again? You want us to come back? Tony, another conference.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm CEO for National Parents Association, and I work with chairman. So the question in the room for many schools is usually a fear of what value would parents add to us? So that's what I want to talk about in a moment. But the first thing that the parents add to your school is parenting. Do you have time to really teach and parent? That's why you're angry, because you're trying to do both. So you're trying to teach and to parent, and so parenting becomes inconvenient. So you start fighting instead because you feel like that's not your space. What is parenting? Parenting is meeting psychological, emotional, and social needs of a child. And the Constitution already envisaged this. And that's why in the design of the new curriculum, the teachers are asked not to parent. And this is strange for you, because the old curriculum wanted you to parent. In fact, we used to say that the teacher is the parent at school. We used to say that, isn't it? And so we will bring the children to you and abandon them there, and then you do both, and both of you are depressed. In the new curriculum, and this is not yet ingrained in people's thinking yet. It's not. It's a fight that we are fighting, part of change management. The new curriculum, we are not allowing you to parent. The curriculum says you and the parent, you co-educate, so that you do the academics as the person does parenting near you. So that is why every class has a class representative who is a parent. That doesn't mean that the parent is standing there every day or every minute. But that means that when parental issues show up in class, in the new structure of CBC, you have an elected class representative who should be brought on board to deal with the parental issue. So if I am in class and everything is normal, it's fine. But if I'm in class and tomorrow I spot depression, I call on the parent representative in the class and we start dealing with depression. If I spot violence, I talk to the class rep and we start dealing with violence. Do you see how it is? Now, it's going to take some time before Kenyans get used to that. So as it is right now, as chairman has said, the schools are still scared of parents. And we did a research where the parents said that the schools are not parent friendly. They're not parent friendly. They're child friendly, but they're hostile to parents. That the meetings are taught using pedagogy. Meetings of parents are handled using pedagogy, yet pedagogy is for children. The adults are, you must use an andragogy approach, adult learning approaches. Haven't you seen how you bring parents and then you put them under the same rules, yeah? Like children, walk in a straight line, like Madam said. So during Parents' Day, even parents walk in a straight line, or sit here, keep quiet. I've seen that in parents' meetings. Even a teacher stands up and says, okay, so the opening date is this. Sawa. And then the parents are expected to say, now, and you're forgetting that I could be sitting there as a parent, but I'm the Chief Justice of the country. So, I cannot be answering to you, Sawa, you know, or I'm the Chief of Police or something like that. So, adults are adults. They just need to operate like peers. Because I'm an adult, when I come to school, to you, the teacher, I am your peer. So don't condescend, like don't walk around me in such a way that I know I missed something at university, which you got. It should not be like that. The second value that the parents would add, according again to the guidelines, is wisdom, participatory decision making. So we are saying, allow in your school, in your board, allow representation of parents so that everything that is discussed, there is a public participation to it automatically. So whatever it is, don't say this is too much for them, because parents are professionals like yourself. So they know these things, Personally, for example, I'm not a teacher, but I did education in KU. So I may not be a teacher, but I know teaching, so to speak. So I can add value in our conversation and so on. So we say wisdom is another thing they add. So let them participate in decision making. Create a structure where you can get tap on the wisdom of them as a public. So that for me, one of my best bosses was from Ghana, and he used to bring things on the table in the boardroom, and then after, when he brings those things, he looks at the different stakeholders around and say to them, how does this sound to engineers? And then you say, oh, to engineers, that sounds really like nonsense. Da, 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 da. Okay. And how does this sound to you musicians? And musicians begin singing instead of responding. So, it is making sense to them and it is nonsense to you because the two of you are in different worlds. And then he says, okay, so it seems like majority of us, this thing sounds okay, but a few of us, it doesn't sound okay. So he will turn to go to the majority, go to the minority and say, what is it that can be adjusted in this thing that the majority like so that you can live with it, not agree with it? Okay, so majority are the ones who agree with it. And then the minority only need to live with it. So what is it that can be done here that you can live with? So you say, okay, I don't really like that, but if you remove aspect A, I can live with it. Then if you live with it, he says, now do this. So when we all do this, then he calls that consensus. Now, if you live with it, it means when we're in a group, you speak like you agree with it. You don't say, he's on his own. You don't say that. So it's consensus. When we leave the meeting, we say, this is the decision of the board. You don't say, this is the decision of the board, but as usual, Madam pushed her agenda. I really, you don't say that. The board has decided that we do this for our children. So that is the second value that the parents would add. And the third value that the parents would add that is written in the new design is the inculcation of values. It is given to them. The values are triggered in school, and you know them, isn't it? They are triggered in school, but they are inculcated at home. And the teacher supports the parent and the learner by keeping the learner accountable for what was done at home, while the parent is keeping the learner accountable for what was done in school. So I like what you said. You said that if, for example, we decide this week or this month or this term, we're working on these three values. We're doing patriotism, we're doing love, we're doing loyalty this term. So it has the classroom activities and it has the extended assignments at home. So you do the classroom activities and I hold the child accountable for what you did because that's what you said. And then I do the home activity and you're holding the child accountable for what the parents did. So those are the main three benefits that you would get if you bring the parents in your system. So I would suggest, or rather propose, that you be more open to teaching in the presence of parents. Of course, you need to use structure, and the Ministry of Education has provided a structure called PTA for that purpose. But get more motivated by that. In conclusion, now I can't read. I used to read before.
Let me read for you.
Okay. The second one is what?
This is English.
I used to read before I came.
Hmm? How schools can involve parents in education transformation.
Okay. So in terms of education transformation, assuming that transformation now, my master's is in human resource management. So we have something called organizational development. So organizational development is the aspect of transforming the organization through what tech companies will call continuous improvement. First time right, continuous improvement. So if you really want to transform how you, and education in this context refers to how you're delivering everything. You're delivering a curriculum, but you're also delivering a culture, and you're also delivering, let's say, an environment. So how you can involve parents in all this is basically using what Steve Jobs was doing. What Steve Jobs will do is that every now and then, it could be every term, you, the teachers, could say in your class meeting, you sit down at the end of every term and just look at what went well and what could have been improved, and what is the one thing you want to improve for the next term. If you do that continuously, then you'll find yourself transforming education. I think I'll want to end there because of time, but say something to my KU little brother here. You asked a very good question about how do you uh, uh, um, develop yourself. And Tony gave a great answer because he said, you turn yourself into, you invest in yourself. So let me say this. See yourself as an asset and make it more expensive to rent. Make your asset more expensive to rent. How do you do that? Every space you are in adds a skill, knowledge, or something to you that makes yourself indispensable in the space. When I was in KU, I found out that in Christian Union, they don't know how to do documents. So I quickly learned how to do documents, and so I became indispensable in writing their letters. You see, so you always glide over the people. Later on, I discovered they don't mind speak. Sometimes they don't get speakers. So I taught myself to public speak so that when the speaker is not there, I speak. And I've continued to do that. So at work, I also have many, many other skills. So the more skills you have, the more you'll find yourself being paid highly, first of all, but also being needed widely. So I've traveled to like 35 countries myself, but my classmates maybe 35 towns they have not arrived. But what takes you is that the Bible says it's your gifts which make way for you. So therefore, developing yourself is about anything you find that like. Now you've been in this course, this is new information, so keep the record, take photos, do the notes, pick one little thing, shine with it somewhere. Go somewhere and force yourself an audience. They are talking about something else. Oh, in fact, you have made me remember transforming education. And then you start becoming a Tony there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you. Thank you very much. And David, thank you very much. Indeed. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, the partnership. So, to be a leader in the National Parents Association, you first of all have to be successful as a stand-up comedian, right? They made you laugh a lot this afternoon. Everyone is like very much awake and so on. But I really want to thank all of you. It's been a very long day today for your investment in today. Tomorrow is going to be very important, right? The most important day is tomorrow, right? Because tomorrow we're going to go over the core content of this workshop, and you must be here to catch it all. So I want to, we're scheduled to start tomorrow at 9 o'clock sharp. So what does that mean? That does not mean you're leaving your home at 9 a.m., right? Oh, 9 a.m., so I can leave home at 9 a.m. No, you have to be here by 8:30 tomorrow morning, okay? Not a minute later, okay? 30 minutes before, right? And we're going to start sharp at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. means international time, not Kenyan time, okay? So we cannot transform education on Kenya time. It has to be on international time, right? So this is part of self-discipline, self-management. So I want to really challenge all of us, right, to be here tomorrow at 8:30. We're going to start at 9 on the dot. We want to finish by 3 o'clock tomorrow, right? And what are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to go over the foundations of character. This is huge. This is what it's all about. Then we're going to make a second segue into the case for character. And we're going to do another presentation on the moral and innovative leadership of educators, right? I'm also going to give you a few case studies of schools and educational institutions who are moving the needle forward in this area, right? A school in Texas that's expanding, that the teacher, the only teacher is the AI. So you might be curious about what's that all about, right? It's a vision of what's to come. And then a school, a university in Mexico that is very purpose and character centered. So I want to share about these few stories with you. So that's what we want to cover tomorrow, okay? And there's more to share as well, but we're going to find another way to get that content to you, right? And then on Saturday, it's all about the family, right? As the most important human institution. We were talking about parents' rights, right? Parents Act. So there's something called parents' rights and parents' responsibilities, right? The reason that you have encroachment on the family is we've lost sight of the fact that the family is the most important human institution. And we have to go back to the fundamentals again, right? That's why we have these crazy situations going on. So we have to get back to basics, right? But thank you for pointing these out, right? So Vince, any final things here before we send everyone home?
So thank you very much. I don't want to add any more. So Sarah, kindly give a vote of thanks. So Chairman and the CEO, we say thank you very much for gracing our event today. So Sarah, you come say a vote of thanks and you pray for tea. And then once you're done, Tony, as we are having tea, we'll request you, the CEO, the chairman, and also Jane, uh, Omondi from Kigwa Ridge. You'll be doing some exercise by Japheth, you'll be just doing some ceremonial tree planting here as you go have tea and then you go home. Sarah.
Thank you very much. My name is Sarah Baraza, an education consultant. And what I do is mostly, I do something called Beyond the Classroom. I taught for over a decade and tried something on mentoring and coaching students. So right now during the holidays, these are my most busy times. So for me to be here, I canceled 2 meetings with parents and a class with the students that was starting at around 11. And the question is, was it worth it? Was it worth it? It was. They say if you want to be wise, you look at the people you want to follow and you buy them coffee. Eh? So that you can just speak to them and you listen to what they have to say. And I didn't have to buy all these people coffee. They are all in one room and I got to listen to them. Am I not wiser? Eh? Yeah, so with that, thank you, Dr. Tony Divan. I've really learned a lot. I am better. When I'm going to speak to those parents, don't you think I'm going to talk to them about behavioral change and not discipline anymore? Thanks to someone here who came and spoke to that. And the little stories that everyone shared, I can never get them from anywhere. It's just about being here. And for today, I am a better person. So thank you very much for each and every person who has come. So let us pray for the tea. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which you are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
So thank you. So just one minute. You've received a flyer from the office of the First Lady. Karibu Professor, I know you are having a meeting and we're almost done. So Busolo, just in 1 minute to just explain the flyer that you received and how your school can participate. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Temina Busolo, once again, from Mama Doing Good. And as Vincent has mentioned, you have received some flyers that has either a drawing of Her Excellency planting a tree or with a learner with a visual disability. So this is an award we are running called the First Ladies Mazingira Awards. It is a national annual environment and climate change award that runs every year. So for 2025, we are focusing on the theme End Pollution, Conserve the Environment, or Komesha Uchafuzi, Hifadhi Mazingira. So ideally what is happening with this award is we give learners a platform for them to express themselves on matters to do with the environment. So once they understand the theme End Pollution, Conserve the Environment, they can come up with a painting, a drawing, an essay in English, essay in Swahili, or poetry, be it a spoken word, a choral, or a solo. So how do you get involved? It is quite an easy process. First, the school has to register through our website. If you look at it at the bottom, for more information, please see 2025. You can see www.flama.go.ke. How many have this? I'm not seeing anyone looking. Mko nayo? You have it? Oh, okay. So you'll see me after this. So at the bottom, you can see www.flama.go.ke. Now what you do is you log into that website and register the school. If your school does not have a NEMIS code, we have an allocation for schools that don't have NEMIS codes. But if your school has a NEMIS code, you can put the NEMIS code in and register. Registration is completely free, and all learners are encouraged to participate. If you look at the submission deadline, it reads 29th August, but don't you worry, we are extending that deadline. So we have ample time for the learners to be able to interact with it and to be able to get involved in this award. So fine, what happens once the learner has been able to? So what happens when the learner already participates in this? First of all, the main objective is for the learner to be able to get that knowledge about environment and climate action. How many of you know about environment and climate action? How many of you have done anything in relation to climate action? How many of you have not? None are neutrals. So if you haven't, well, we have climate change that is a factor that is actually affecting us all. And we are trying to make learners be agents of change. So we're trying to make them understand, why are we planting trees? Why are we saying we should plant trees? Why are we saying we should dispose plastics in a right way? So that they can be able now to understand what environment and climate action is, environmental conservation and climate action, by making it a fun way for them to do, by making them have a fun way to do it. So this cuts across primary, junior school, and secondary schools across the country in public and private university schools. My apologies. So in case of any further questions or clarifications, you can come and see me. I'm still around and I'll be able to explain more about it. Just a brief highlight about 2024. We were able to have over 1,000 entries from across the country, and the winning learners were hosted by Her Excellency at State House, of course, with the teachers. Yes? So we'd like also more learners to have that experience, so that not only are they only learning, but they are gifted for the hard work that they did. There's a verse that usually says, your gift will bring you before kings. So we want learners to be able to also have that opportunity through this award. So they came to State House, they were awarded, some of them got laptops, some of them got smartwatches, the schools got trophies. We also took care of the teachers. The teachers also got their own gift hamper. And after that, they're also taken to the Nairobi National Park by Her Excellency the next day. And it was all catered for, from accommodation to everything else. So we want learners to not just have the award, but to have also the experiential learning experience. And we'll do the same this year, where we'll have the award ceremony and we'll also have the learners able to experience environmental conservation and climate action from the first hand. So thank you so much, and I hope to see some of you this year at State House. Thank you. Parents were there. For the parents whose children were there and wanted to be part of it, they contacted us, and the direction, and the instruction was, let me finish. And the instruction was for any parent who would like to come with the learner to get awarded, atukukatazi, you are very welcome. That was the instruction. So for any parent who wants to come, they're allowed to. Yes, please. And may she participate, or he? Yes. So asante sana.
Thank you very much. Pass our regards to the First Lady, Japheth. Final with Tony to go and plant the trees.
You will hold it.
And you explain how we work with the Office of the First Lady on this.
Good evening. Good evening again. Thank you. I began with a word of prayer, and I'm again winding up with planting trees. Just again, allow us to put a big hands to our facilitator, Dr. Tony Divine. Kindly, a big hands. Because the transformation we are talking about has to begin with who? With us. So he's delved so much about character, which he will continue with tomorrow. You agree with me that what Temi has just mentioned from the Office of Mama Doing Good, that is one of our close partners, is talking about environmental conservation. And the climate change is a big problem. Now, what we are looking for is stewardship. Is what? Environmental stewardship. That is where we are. Are we together? So it's a concern that each of us needs to do something about it, not just stories. So I think we are very intentional in this, in the partnership, and we are promoting what we call the Million Tree Growing Campaign. We are targeting to do 45 million by 2032 as this consortium. So the idea is we want to give mark and significantly do something at every convening that we have. So this is an opportunity that we are just demonstrating through this, but we have an action that will be coming after end of this month, again, to accelerate the same. So just basic. This is a tree. Probably, I don't know how many have planted trees as the month began, this month. Many hands are down. Do you know the target that each of you has as Kenyans? Do you know the target? What is the target? Correct. Our target is 15 billion. What about individual? You as an individual. Okay. So tabulation was already done, and actually the request is by then. It's a very humble goal that by 2032, each of us should plant 300 trees. How many? 300 by 2032. Calculate it downwards to where we are now. How many seedlings is that? When it was being started, ideally you should plant 30 seedlings by end of every year. Are those ones many? So it's not just planting, it's actually growing them. Are we together? So that is the encouragement. So we are urging that let's make this intentional, because this is part of the transformation we are talking about, practically speaking. So I'm just demonstrating that these are a piece of paper. These are a paper from Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya milk, eh? Sorry. Mount Kenya milk. So we want to conserve as much as they produce. This paper can be utilized for another seedling. So you water it, and then you do some little sort of massaging, which is part of what we are talking about today. It has to be massaged. As you plant the tree, you want it to grow, right? You also need to care for it, some level of relationship with this tree. So it needs some tender care and love. So part of this begins with the massaging. Then after watering this, then you want to just turn this upside down. Then the paper will come out by itself. I already massaged. Okay, the water is a little delayed, but I'll do that as we sort out. I was just giving an example. So that should be part of the practice, that this paper ultimately will come out softly, that we can use it for another replanting. Thank you so much. Now, we are having only 5 seedlings for now. We are talking about Vision 2050. The transformation is 2050, so that we can jump into another leap of a difference. So we were doing 5 rows. Tony will lead us in this row. We'll do with you this is guava. Actually, we are doing only fruit trees. This is guava. We'll do with Tony. I would urge Professor Wanderi to lead with Ayako behind here. We'll do Syzygium, the Mzambarao. And then Temi would do jackfruit behind here. And David Silla and the PH here, you can do the other jackfruit. And then Madam Jane, we can do them in rows. This row you can do this one here. And then the other row can do the other one. We actually only have 5 seedlings. So let me say that row, let's do that one together with Dr. Tony. This row, you can join Temi. Is that okay? Yeah, the other seedling is just behind there. This row, join me there with Dr. Tony. And then the other row, please do the other ones behind here. Is that clear? Thank you so much. I think we can all rise up and just move to those sides.
Thank you. After that, take tea, and may God watch over you. We meet tomorrow early in the morning. Asanteni sana. Adios, amigos.
Thank you.
Mike, you'll take the photos as they are doing the tree growing. Mike Gitao, you'll take the photos.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Okay, I see. Enjoy this drink here. No alcohol, green water.
South the top.
Yes.
Exactly.
It produces
Thank
many
you.
good fruits.
Thank you.
Many good
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. And man, actually, you name this tree, yeah. Dr. Tony. Yes.
Whenever he is around,
Let's go.
oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Another one.
Sorry.
Bueno, pues wengine.
Good.
Bueno, pues wengine. Mtoto ndio ulitumia kwa WhatsApp.
Let me help you. Yeah. That's your hands. Still okay. If we can do it. So I told her to massage it.
Massage.
Yeah.
Niko ni.
Yes.
Niko Pako.
Maybe Tony, you can come and do it. Join. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
You want massage also?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we're getting there, right?
No, it's coming up. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well massaged.
Doesn't have to break once.
Yeah.
That way you just
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Uh,
Doing the root.
Yes.
Yeah.
One knee down.
One knee has to be down. One knee.
Yes. Put some sweet maybe. If you do that, then
You can give the
praying for it.
chairman the spade.
The spade.
Chairman the spade.
You are praying for it fast. Praying for it.
So, Madam
For the environment.
the name of the chairman.
Yes. Praying for it and praying for the environment. Yes. They export to the US so you can find Tony to the markets.
Add a little. Add more. More. Yeah, add more.
Should have water.
Now I can massage it.
Water.
Yes, bro.
Where is Temi?
Oh, yes.
Temi. What do you do? Export in other countries.
Make the children happy. Make
The children.
very good.
Let's go to the next.
I will mark you.
Huyu nani hapa?
Need to get right fast.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Massage.
Okay.
Massage. Where is the camera person? This is,
You also like.
this is a global partnership.
You also like.
Yeah.
Also like farming.
Yes.
Go back to our farming roots.
Global partnership.
Yes.
Nice.
There we are.
There we go.
There we are. And then we keep these well.
Yeah, keep it.
We keep
Even the jackfruit.
and
Right.
yes.
Jackfruit?
And then we walk.
Yes.
We go down. Yes.
Down. Sorry.
Hold on. Yeah, they can get it.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, you want to use manual?
yes.
The local.
The original ways.
Yes.
Back water with shovels.
Because I'll come to look for it and check on how it's going. And yes. And I will reap the first jack.
Yes. Here.
Man, yes. Partnership. Yeah.
Sorry.
Speak to your team. Yeah, you grow. There'll be a lot of shade. There'll be shade. Oh yeah. There'll be fruits. The birds will come and all the children ourselves. We will take photos. Yeah. Good.
We have cups. You just wash your hands.
Oh yeah.
You want a massage? Okay.
Oh yeah.
There you are.
Okay.
You have so much.
Jackfruit. No. Once you've massaged it, just turn it down.
Yeah.
Upside down. Yeah. So
We
that
have to learn these things.
exactly that way. Then you have to put your knee down.
Knee down.
Good. Yeah, that way. I use the spade.
Mata. Nasahau. Unataka kusahau.
Oh. Oh.
Which tree is this?
Jackfruit.
Jackfruit.
Those are jackfruit.
Okay. Very sweet. May you grow, may you feed many children.
Yes.
Yeah. The children grow, may you so. Providing nutrition to the children.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Want to add more?
Rather than
Yes, we can.
That will be added. It's okay.
rather than
Add.
some food.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you can watch.
Some food, right? And water together. Then paper for sunshine tomorrow.
Great. Tell me next. Let's go there.
This is the last one.
This one actually had ready to move for you. Guys, so that you don't. Okay. Just go down and position it again where it needs to be. Mama, man, music is doing. Okay, that's it. Then you can now just
take the speed. And talk to it. The tree well. You can bless it. They feel it's not a good. It's good. Enjoy. Yeah, good. It's very good. This now, the process. This is. That's problem.
Yeah.
Which one is this?
Sajam, Sambarao.
Oh, okay. Nimekota bomu mingi.
Hadi ukitembea.
Nichapa mchezo.
Yeah. Well, there was the dark. Besides. Okay, thank you.
Imeisha. Ah.
Yeah.